Welcome to holy fuck, the all-time highs are over stream. The panic. You know I love the panic. We got Haz, Hula Bulu. What's going on? How you guys doing? Letting everybody get booted up here. Getting a few things set on my own. Silver HD, good to see you. First time commenter. I like this new function. This function's pretty sick. I like it when new people come in and comment. It's pretty nice. I have a new start screen. And the reason why I have a new start screen is just kind of chat here a little bit while we're waiting for other people to arrive, because when the chart's in front of me, I just can't help but, you know, go. So, yeah, Silver. Hello, we're back to the bear market again. You know what, man? Surprising how many people are like, that was it. We had a good go, though, didn't we, boys? It's unreal. We get up a little bit. People get crazy, crazy leveraged. Yeah, hell go, dude. Don't get me started. And we get a rinse. And it seriously is the, like, price is not seen since, you know, the 19th. It's unbelievable. Number's going to go down. This is the confirmation you're talking about. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into all of it. What's the general feeling, though? You know, I always ask when we get on here, like, how are you guys feeling? Like, do you really think we're going to go into, like, high 50s? It's so hyped. We could. We could. I mean, you know, no way. You got to keep your eyes open at everything, but yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if we did. Hype to the tits. Nice. Up and up, no sweat. Algo dude, keeping cool. I like it. I need to move my chat box somewhere where I can see, and it doesn't look like I'm like looking across the screen. I'm so hyped right now. Give cats flying lessons. I don't know what that means, but I like that it's your first time chatter, which is cool. And I want to know about giving cats flying lessons too. You can't come in with a name like that and ask me not to ask questions. JP, that guy. Great names, man. Hold the TRL and we're good. You know what, Has? Don't get into my content before I do. That's rude, okay? You can't get into my content before I do. I know you've been watching for a long time, but you start giving away my content in the chat and, you know, then people don't even come listen to me anymore. I've not heard any good reasons to not give cats. So when you say that, do you mean like throwing them off buildings, or do you mean like, let's get them little planes? They'll figure it out. You know? It's pretty funny. No. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. We start with ETHBTC. We got a stream log in the top left corner. Bringing in some new... bringing in... What's up, Shady Capital? Good to have you back. Some new features. You got the straight-faced intro. We got the chat box, which actually isn't new. I just stopped doing it for a while. Yeah, the good old ETHBTC chart. You saw a really, really nice rotation here, which I had talked about a little bit in the chat. So, you know, it was a pretty sick rotation and like a straight rip up to 50 on ETHBTC, which I am here for, you know? Earthblade, what's up? First time chatters? I love seeing first time chatters. If you're a first time chatter, I'm going to say hello. Irv, how'd you find us? How did you end up on the stream? I always am curious about that too. So, you know, say that if you can, or don't. I don't care. But I would like to know. And this was it's a 12-hour divergence, okay? You guys have seen me talk about 30-minute divergences, of which like it kind of had one too. Had one earlier, broke down, whatever. And 12 hours is a lot. And Joao and I talked about this in the chat a little bit the other day, but it was like a pretty strong setup to rotate when it happened. Like some things broke down, and I thought it'd be a pump. What is that MACD? This is my custom MACD indicator. Found it from Kaz. Sweet. Yeah, Kaz and I are boys. Kaz, I think I talk to Kaz as much as I talk to like almost anyone. He and I are chatting pretty much all day. Yeah, Kaz and I are boys. I'm not friends with Maine. Well, we might be friendly. I don't know. I've never really spoken to him. Everybody tells me I sound like Kaleo, though. I've been on Kaz's stream twice now, which, by the way, both times I was on Kaz's stream, something crazy happened. So I guess we'll just reserve that for when crazy shit happens in the market. But both times, there was like several people who said I sound just like Kaleo. One, I'm not Kaleo. I wish I had his bank account. But I've never heard him talk either, so I guess I should do that. So yeah, this is a pretty strong reversal on ETH BTC. So I want to point this out. I moved the fund that I manage, which is all... Yeah. Well, I'll get to that too, which is all I'm going to talk about anymore. I'm not going to really talk about the fund and how you get into it and all that kind of stuff. If you want to know more, come to Stack Labs. We can talk about it in there. I'm not going to talk about it on here. I'm just going to refer to it as the fund that's managed. So the fund, we moved to 65% Ethereum before the pump, which is nice. Like we caught a nice little rip. And some people messaged me and said, you know, why didn't you go 100% or 90% or whatever onto Ethereum? Because you always want to layer into these moves. And a bunch of people got really nervous, okay? And said, like, you're not doing this right now? Like, why aren't you moving right now? Clearly the rotation's happening. And here's why. And just really quickly, I want to come out guns blazing on ETH BTC because we are into R here and we may come back down. This is a strong divergence on MACD, and the target is the 50-day. It did exactly what it should have done. What you really want to see, one, is for it to punch through and kind of turn the 50-day into support. If that doesn't happen, you'll see it come back down and form a higher low. If it comes down and forms a higher low, then what did I really miss by not moving the whole thing in? So like I moved here. So we're talking about 2%, which is what I want, if that's my thesis, right? So just, you know, everybody wants to catch the move at the bottom. I didn't catch the bottom. I just caught it in this candle. And then I moved back up for the fun. So, you know, that you don't have to catch everything all the time. Ethereum had a nice move. Ethereum looks better to me, which we're about to get into. Which, by the way, JP the Dude, or whatever your name is. No, there was another one. JP the Dude. JP that guy, Give Cats Flying Lessons, and Irvblade. 3 new commenters. Welcome. Somebody asked about the MACD. This is a custom MACD indicator. If you join the Stack Labs chat and send me a note, I'll give it to you for free. I don't charge anybody for it. I just won't give it to you. So, you know. Kajeka, how you doing? That's the chat. Yeah. I just dropped it in the stream there. So it's just Telegram. A lot of good people. We're looking to add good people. I never shill. I never charge for anything. But you know, be a part of the community. Be a productive person. You know, help out people when they need help. Be respectful. You can come on in and you can absolutely have the indicator. And here's the thing about this too. There's nothing special about this indicator. I've said this 1,000 times on stream. There is nothing special about this indicator. I changed it from a line to dots, and there's conditional formatting. Pink is declining momentum. Blue is increasing momentum. A crossover from declining to increasing is a white bubble. A crossover from increasing to decreasing momentum is a red bubble. Okay, that's right there. That's all it is. I just think it's very clear to look at because the colors give you a pretty good idea when momentum changes one way or the other. But do your own research, learn about MACD, you know, be smart. So I started a little bit out of order with my stream log just because I think ETH BTC is fun to look at. Yeah, yellow's the 50. Yellow's the 50. So I don't say, sometimes I accidentally say 50 day because that's just what's in my head. It's just the 50 MA because I'm on a 12-hour chart right now. And it's not like this is the static daily 50 MA. This is the 50 bar moving average for the 12-hour chart, if that makes sense. So yeah, the 50 MA, which is the mean reversion line. If you were here last time we streamed, I talked about using indicators appropriately. 25 day. Yeah, well, technically, it would be the 25 day. I talked about using indicators and making sure they all line up. And this is a mean reversion strategy. We reverted to the mean. And the 0 line on MACD is also a momentum reset line. So they kind of move hand in hand. They're the same thing, really, because one of them is an EMA trigger on the time frame to a larger time frame. So know how to line your stuff up. You can go watch the previous stream if you don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Let's talk about the corn for a moment here. And last time, yeah, I'll get to that in a second here, Algo dude. When I was on Kaz's stream, somebody was like, I see you don't subscribe to the theory of keeping charts simple. No, I do. I just annotate my charts for people to be able to see whenever they want and know exactly what I'm doing here. Like, believe me, I know this is a channel top. I know this is a channel bottom. I don't need to label it for me. By the way, DJ, first time chatter. Thanks, man. The 25 day. If you guys didn't understand what he was saying, it was a 50 bar moving average on a 12-hour chart, which means it's a 25 day moving average. Also, math. Yeah. Good stuff. So I have this chart up because if you remember when we were here, like low 50s, and you saw any of the charts that I was posting, the legend, yeah, Kaz is my boy, my absolute boy. I had an area here, of course, bastard, there, I can move that now, that I had as like a key area where I was like, we really need to get through this. Actually, it was like this area for a couple reasons. You had the TRL, you had the channel top, you had this previous pivot, and it was a pretty key area. And like, true enough, you know, like we ran up here. I'll delete that so you can see what I'm talking about. We ran up here and like we had a little bit of a period where it was, you know, is this going to happen or is it not? And it rejected back down. You saw some crazy things said on Twitter about, you know, all that stuff. It's going to reject, go back down lower, yada, yada. And we punched through. So I don't really like to be in the habit of having these many lines all together, but I'm going to talk about them right now because they're all relevant and they've all held up price today, which is bullish, okay? There's not a single, by the way, if you guys are new to my stream, I'm sorry. I swear, Kaz is so pure and nice and good, and he doesn't cuss, and I wish I could be that guy. I'm not that guy, okay? I'm in my 30s. I got a small child, okay? I got a lot of things to cuss about. So I pause myself to say, it would be very, very difficult for you to find a reason to make me fucking bullish, or to make me fucking bearish up here, okay? And I have a very active chart here, which if you don't know what these things are, it looks like, well, it's just a lot of sloppy bullshit. They're not. These are actually all very, very strong lines and strong signals, okay? And if they weren't relevant on my chart, I wouldn't have them up. Yay, yay. Yay, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome, first-time chatters. I love it, man. I love it. Anytime you're a first-time chatter, come say hello. Love to see the names. And if you notice, my brain can't stop me from trying to pronounce your name. So if you come in here with a crazy-ass username, I'm going to try to pronounce it. But this whole area, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How about you? Thank you for joining. Hey, time and space. Time and space 42. Time and space, it's all relative, baby. I love a good relativity name. That's beautiful. So, I'm going to go through each of these lines and talk about why they're important. Because you need to look at them individually and look at them as a whole. And until I saw 1, 2, or all 3 of these fail, it's going to be hard to make me bearish. Which, fail does not mean go under either. I appreciate that the channel top held. In fact, it was like the exact bottom. But I would prefer we stay above it. Failing does not mean we don't punch below it. Okay? So, I'll tee that up as we go into this. I don't know how to use the object tree here. I really probably should learn. Nope, not gonna lie. I'm not gonna do it on stream with you guys, so we'll figure it out. This red line, I have TRL with an arrow down. I'm gonna start there. I had that on my chart always. Right here. I had this on my line, on my chart, and these are not parallels on my Bybit chart. It's a line where it's not exactly a channel top because there's no bottom. But if you go on any instrument in like recorded history, this line exists and it's respected. And in order for a move to become parabolic, it has to be flipped. Okay. Okay. So that was always there. But then when I was looking at this chart, I was like, you can't have 2 pivots like this and not think about drawing a channel, right? Like it's just too clean to not have a channel. And that's what this is. Okay. So that's literally what became this chart. That's the red line. That's the 2 yellow lines. So channel top, channel bottom, and the TRL. And then you have a little mini topping resistance line here from a couple pivots that flipped up. And this whole area has been holding as support since we popped through. In fact, you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, essentially. Once we got above it, these lines have been holding. And if you notice, it's not the channel top line that's holding, it's the TRL, which is crazy. The TRL's been holding, not the channel top. The channel top is the bottom. The TRL's been holding. I can't even explain to you how much alpha this is, and you guys are all going to forget it. But you should draw any pivots on a trending chart. The top 2 pivots that are formed, draw it. There's your take profit. People ask about targets all the time. There. I just gave it to you. That's the target. If you're making a swing trade from one side to the other, that's it. And then there's a couple other supporting things here. In fact, I sent a note to Kaz when we were talking about like invalidations. Well, this 12-hour UTL is a pretty strong trend, and we've been holding it, right? So there's a lot going on here. You got a mini TRL, you got the bigger TRL, you have a UTL, you have a channel top and a channel bottom. These are so many bullish things from a technical perspective. You could never convince me to get bearish right now. Ever. Funding got insane. People were going, oh my God, this is the move, the 70, 80, 90 grand. I'm going to get unbelievably long. Hey, I would love to see a good stacked emoji in the chat. That's amazing. Here, let me give you the tier 3. That's what the tier 3 looks like. Only 2 people have it. It's pretty sick. And I'm one of them. So, a lot of really, really good stuff. Yeah, just asked the question. Don't feel offended. I don't know you. I just found you. Do you have a positive track record if it comes to BTC and ETH, collateral switching, and swing trades? You know what, man? What can I say that doesn't make me sound dumb in that question? Okay? Because, yeah, I do. But any way I say that, I'm going to sound like a jerk. So, yeah, there's no way to prove that other than follow along. You can go back and watch my streams, man. I called the bottom on July 22nd. I called the A-line top at 48.8. You know, do what you want. But, yeah, you got to go do your own research. I have a YouTube channel that has all my previous streams. And I don't know. I don't feel like people would hang out and come hang out in my Telegram if I wasn't good. So, yeah, but ETH BTC is what I'm the best at of my swing trading in crypto and collateral changes. It's literally, I put together a study that I'm going to be posting soon about You don't ever need to use leverage. If you had put $1,000 into, it would have been Ethereum at the start of the year, and all you did was rotate your collateral back and forth between Bitcoin and Ethereum, you'd be up over 65x without any leverage from January 1 to today. 65x in USD. It'd be like 16, 17x in raw tokens, which is bananas. So, yeah, that's my move. How many X's? You want my bank account number too? Yeah. I'm with you on asking questions and vetting, but do your own research. No, I don't feel offended. It's just not the time to talk about this. Like, as much as I want to gain you as a viewer, every single one of my streams is on YouTube. Go look at them. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy to be a LARP. If you think I'm a LARP, go for it. What I can say is I have a fund that is traded, and you can follow that fund's progress if you really want to. A lot more than that because I was using leverage. I have a fund that I manage, and you can look at its results. So there you go, yeah. If you want to find it, come hang out. All right, so for Bitcoin. Yeah, let me get that SSN while you're at it. For sure, dude. For sure. Akorian, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. You know what, cats? Dude, that's the move. Like, what kills me about crypto and my whole theory on crypto is you have to stay in the market to succeed, because this is the best market in the best time in the history of the world. The best market at the best time in the history of the world in crypto right now. And if you want to have a bigger talk about what that is, I'm happy to do it. But there he is. The Stack Labs Telegram room is a great reason why this is the best market at the best time in the history of the world. And the reason for that is in the Stack Telegram room, we have people from South America, from North America, from Asia, from Australia, from Europe. And we're all working together to build new markets and working on protocols to build new markets in a collaborative manner. There's never been anything quite like this. And right now we're just coming into mainstream, okay? Even people who trade crypto right now don't know how to operate on chain. It is yeah, that's true. We do have Africa. I'm sorry. I apologize. One of my best friends is from Tunisia. Okay, so that I've met in the crypto space. He's from Tunisia. So yes, literally, we got the continents covered. Hopefully, we'll get somebody from Antarctica. We'll be all right. But seriously, everything covered in an emerging market with new developments day by day, with Web 3.0 on the horizon and all the stuff that's going on in the world. It's the best market at the best time in the history of the world. Quote me on that shit. So, and he's like, silver's from Chile. That's beautiful. We got Chile, we got Argentina, we got Brazil. Chile, sorry. Got people in the Caribbean. Ecuador. I love it, man. I love it. JV7XBT. We got our train hype conductor in the house. It's beautiful. Jaspo. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, cats, and this is my last little like anecdote, and then I'll switch into Ethereum. We'll talk about DeFi, the S&P, and then I'll pull on a taxi. A taxi's gonna come on too. Stacked, the logo up here, there, is a company, and the CEO is Joel Birch. It's based in Chicago. Joel Birch and I worked at the same company. We met. He was on a team that I managed. I was sales manager at the time, and he was my rock star performer. This is during the shittiest economy, since 2000. It was like after 08, 09. And, nobody had jobs. So we worked at a company. He was on my team. He and I kept in touch because he's a transcendent thinker. He is an unbelievably charismatic guy. And write this down. Stacked is going to be a $1 billion company, a $1 billion plus company. I swear to God. Just wait. It will be. This is his company. He started telling me about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin was about $200 because we've always been friends. And so for you to say I didn't have enough conviction, I had a guy that I trust more than almost anyone in the world, a guy who I know to be smart because he worked in front of me for months, maybe years. I don't remember how long we worked together. And I bought my first Bitcoin at $8,000. It took me from 200 to 8,000 to have any conviction at all. And then it took me being in the space, really, really in the space, to actually go all in. Okay? So it takes time, but that's what makes me more excited. And that's the reason why I like streaming. It's the reason why I like talking to people. It's the reason why I like meeting people from Ecuador and Chile and Brazil and Portugal and whatever it may be. Because we all came together to see this move in the market. And oh my God, I got chills thinking about it. Literal chills right now. So stay in the game. And that's what ETHBTC is all about. You can just trade collateral. You can make conservative moves. I am interested in gaining tokens because while I do say that is 65x right now, in fact, it's more than that. I'll publish the results. And you can come hang out. When we went from 64,000 down to 29,000, it was not 65x. But we did some crazy shit in the way of gaining more tokens for long term. Gaining more tokens. That's the point. That's why those returns can happen. Yeah, Taxi's here. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Taxi in. Let me go through Ethereum. I'll let you in. Bro, algo dude. Fuck. Could you imagine if I had any conviction at all and was like 5 years older? Or just like had a little bit more money at the time because the economy was pretty terrible. I would have went so hard once I figured out what crypto was. All right, here I'll let a taxi in. You got to knock again, bro. I lost you. Knock again. I'll let you in. Got it. Taxi, what's up, buddy? Let me turn this down. All right, cool. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna go through Ethereum. Carlos from the Nerd Corner, I'll pull up his stuff, is here. There's his information top right corner of the screen, so you can see who he is if you want to go check him out. Although, actually, you changed your handle, didn't you? On
no, it's the same handle. It's just names.
Oh, his name's different. Okay, so his handle's the same. All right, so hold on for Carlos or Ataxia, and we're gonna talk about Ethereum. Fucking ads. Glorbnort, what's up? Good to see you. We got a bunch of new people.
Yeah, I just felt like if you were gonna talk about Ethereum without me, it felt like bad. It felt wrong.
Yeah. No, we're in an ad break right now. Anyway, apparently,
That's cool.
It doesn't tell me. Let me know when you guys are back. I know some people can hear me, so please. I remember being a sweaty. Yeah, some people get ads. I don't know how, man. It just started. I think I hit some viewership number where they started. Okay, you're back. Sweet. I remember being a sweaty nerd teenager and mining Bitcoin before there was even decent exchanges. Mined about $1 worth and gave up. Never had the vision. Now I know, dude. Give cats flying lessons, dude. That is unbelievably true. There's so many people like that. Bloody ads. Yeah, I know, guys. It's the fucking worst. I'm sorry. Yeah, what are you doing on ETHBTC? All right, so yeah, really, really good questions coming up here. I swear to God, I'll get to all these. Let's talk about Ethereum as a chart versus USD. We'll go back to ETHBTC, talk about with Carlos a little bit too, okay? Ethereum. Somebody just said gun to your head. What would you long right now, Ethereum or BTC? Right now, it's Ethereum. All right, so here is this downward trend line, which was respected on Ethereum, going back to the highs. So we had our pop back up in September, came back down. We had distribution here. Somebody was unloading a position here. Can you see my screen? Are you delayed right now? Texia?
It's a little delayed, but I'm seeing the chart.
Okay, all right. So you had like 4 days of distribution while while Bitcoin was doing its thing. And then we had this rip. This is the previous all-time high bar. Look, huge sell, and we're hanging out below it. That's okay. That's okay. Flipping this DTL and maintaining it is the thing that matters because, and I haven't updated this yet, this is now this. You bastard. Somebody just asked if I share when I rotate. Yeah, I shared the moment that I rotated yesterday in the chat, if you're in the chat.
And you can see on chain.
You can also, yeah, if you watch, guys, believe me, I rotate the fund before I rotate even my own money, just so you know. I rotate the fund before I rotate my own money because I would rather lose my own money than I'd rather lose somebody else's. So just keep that in mind. So having worked through this area, no, not yet. I'll get into it. Okay. And yeah. Somebody just asked about like, all right, does he give, I'm not a signal guy. Okay. I will never be a signal guy where it's like, here you go, but here's my paid group for his signal. I do give signals. I do give triggers and I do talk about how to manage this stuff. But I do not feel compelled to come in and be like, here's the trigger, send me $20 a month to do this. Like, that's not me. Okay. So we now have support here from essentially 3,900 to what? It's about 4,000, right? About 4,000. And we have this area that flipped. The true test, honest to God, guys, 65% I rotated. 65%, JJ. You can check on the Plus EV fund. That's like 66%, actually. So not all of it. And I'll tell you how to rotate if you didn't catch the early rotation. Because like I didn't rotate the whole thing because I still might be wrong. All right. So you have this whole area up here where nothing's wrong. You have this UTL on Ethereum where nothing is wrong. Okay. So if you're saying, when do I want to get long? And when do I want to try to long Ethereum? Could you buy the dip here? Yeah, because we might just go back out. We also could come all the way back down to 38, 3,900 and still nothing would be wrong. I would have no problem getting into this area. As long as this line is holding. Carlos, you got like cats in the background or dogs? What's going on there? I got some feedback.
Hold on. I'll fix it.
Yeah, thank you. You're fine. This is obviously not great. We had this like incredible run. We got like, what did we get? Like $4 into all-time highs. And then all of a sudden it was literally the massacre. The massacre came within dollars of making all-time highs. Hold on. What was it here? 43.84. And this got to 43.74. Okay. So it might've been on Bybit that I saw it. This was 43.83. This was 43.87. $4. We got $4 of all-time highs. And then just
that means the breakout pump is still to come.
That's absolutely. The whole reason why I rotated early for me was because of the ETH BTC chart. And I still think Bitcoin goes up. I just think that it's going to be led by Ethereum price exploration. Okay. Somebody asked the question, what do you do for ETH BTC during a bear market? So I have not traded a bear market in crypto in so much as I had a bull market and then it became a bear market. I just started in a bear market. Okay. So like that doesn't really change much for me. I also didn't really develop this theory until trading and acclimating to the environment a little bit. I don't know if you started this way or if you even like, when you first started getting into, like obviously Carlos is here and I'm going to give you a proper introduction in a second, but just anecdotally while I'm vibing, did you really understand the relationship between Ethereum and Bitcoin when you first got in?
I mean, at first it's hard to grasp, and at first I wasn't like I was, yeah, Bitcoin has to go down. Like I just felt it was like outdated,
Yeah.
and that's like the first stance people get if you're not a maxi already, because like all the maxis are just people who bought it Bitcoin's bro.
Yeah. Good point. All right, fair enough. So yeah, understanding that relationship is pretty weird. So why did I buy? I already laid this out here, but I'll lay it out again. There was a divergence here on the MACD, which is my favorite indicator. It's the one that I'm using here is my own indicator. And this is a slight divergence, which can be a reversal pattern. So that's why I moved in 65%. Somebody asked if it's too late now to rotate. And the idea is no, because I'm going to do this really, really quickly, guys. And it's stupid because you're like, yeah, no shit. But this needs to be laid out sometimes for people to really get it, okay? And this technically still was a lower low because that's what the divergence is, right? This is a trend down. Okay. So you have, that would have been a higher low. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. That's about all we can do. So it's very clear to follow this. It's a downtrend, okay? It's a downtrend. There were no reversal signals until just now. This 12-hour that activated. The way that this is supposed to work, the way that this trigger is supposed to work, and it does. You can go back and look at these divergences on any chart on any time frame. Generally, it comes up, the target is the 50-day. What you want to see for continuation of this is a break of the 50 segment and then turning and moving. We just got rejected by it into another R zone. So are we 100% in the clear? No, we're not. But it gave a pretty good indication of a reversal here. Now, a lot of times when this rejects off the 50-day, what will happen is we'll come down and it will form like a little bit of a right shoulder, essentially doing this. And this is the point that I'm making about rotating. Everybody wants to do it at the right time because they don't want to get left behind. But in the history, like even, and I brought this up on Kaz's stream, and I'll show it again here. Even when we had the crazy ass run where Ethereum appreciated 175% versus Bitcoin, it gave you several opportunities to get in before the big run. Okay. All you want to do when rotating your collateral from one to the next is catch the trend reversal. Trend reversals are a new higher low and a new higher high. That's it. You get the break of the trend reversal. You don't have to catch that right away because it's not like Ethereum is going to run on its own. Like I know Carlos is a Ethereum maxi, but I don't believe there's a scenario that you see happening where Ethereum goes to $10,000 and Bitcoin stays below 60. Do you?
No, not at all.
Right. So the point is, it's not like if we're getting that breakout, you're still not going to be running. You're just not going to be running as much as you could. It's an advantage in percentages of token, in collateral. So somebody asked, and how I got onto this diatribe to begin with was, what do you do in a bear market? I'm trying to acquire more tokens. Because my personal macro view, which will not change unless something drastically changes in the world, is the long-term run on crypto is up. I can't even imagine what would have to happen for me to turn on crypto and say, nah, that's dead. Okay?
Yeah, they would have to like hack the blockchain.
That's right. Ethereum would have to go down. Bitcoin is done. Like, all right, then we're gone. But you know what? The first thing that came back and said we solved those issues, I'd be there. Right? Absolutely would be. So the point is, you're just trying to take advantage of this. In a bear market, it's the same thing. You might not be gaining tremendous value in USD, but you're gaining additional tokens by riding the waves of one against the other. That way, when you flip back and forth, you're gaining additional, okay? And that's why this was a 65x move unlevered. Because if you go back and look at this, if you traded it appropriately, and I took my, actually here there. Here's my annotations. Yes, it's busy. Sorry. You guys got to deal with it. Like I was talking about on Kaz's stream the other night, I rotated here. I remember this specifically. I rotated at 0.03. We went up to like 0.035, came back down. There was almost a shakeout wick, and I was like, oh my God, I got this wrong. Like, I got this very wrong. And I still didn't sell because I didn't see a reason to. This was still holding. And then you had, boom, run up, run up, run up. There was all these opportunities for you to rotate and still get in. And it made this enormous move. Really, if you're going top to bottom, it was 178%. Check SPX. Okay. People don't generally say that to me unless there's a good reason. So, and I trust JV7 XBT. Oh, baby. Okay. This will be very, very good. If we break... See, all right. I swear to God, Carlos, I'm going to bring you in. This is my last thing. Do you guys... Yeah. Do you guys understand what the S&P 500 is? I've talked about this before. So some of you who have joined me before know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's correlation, no doubt. But the S&P 500, people think it's the 500 largest companies. Yes, has got it. It's the highest beta 500 companies. So you have to be among the largest, but also the ones that move with price the most, okay? And Bitcoin moves is the highest beta instrument there is. That's right. Hence Tesla. Okay, I think I have Tesla on this chart. I might have taken it off. Nah, fuck. I probably got pissed one day when Elon was doing something dumb. But like, yeah, perfect. Okay. Tesla. Tesla is the highest beta there is. This shit moves crazy on days. It just doesn't make sense. Right? That's what this is. We are actually more closely aligned with the NQ, continuous contracts. And NQ's had a good run. The NQ, which is the NASDAQ futures. Or the most correlated with is the QQQ. So that is the top 100 on the NASDAQ from a beta perspective, that move. This shit's crazy. So all these things are lining up. So when you take a step back and look at the macro picture, you guys are really selling right now? Are you worried right now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right. I have a question because I enjoy having the music on. Carlos can't hear it. I can hear him just fine. When Carlos is talking, does the music drown him out or can you hear him fairly clearly? Let's see what they say.
John. Test.
No, it's all perfect. All right, cool.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to do the best I can to give you an introduction here. Yeah, you can barely hear the music. Good. Okay, I turned it down quite a bit to make sure that this could happen. But I'm about to bring on, you can see his name is in the top right corner. Ataxia, his name's Carlos. His handle, Ataxia NQ, because he's Ataxia from the Nerd Quarter. Nerd Quarter is where I've met a lot of the Chads in this place. People that are developing, people that are out there making new projects, teaching about FA in crypto. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a TA guy. I'm a technical analysis guy who's learned FA. One of the people who's taught me the most about fundamental analysis in crypto is the guy I'm about to bring on. So, Carlos, why don't you, if you start from the beginning really quick, because like you haven't been on in a minute and we got a hell of a lot of new viewers. Tell people about yourself as succinctly as you can, I guess, but be thorough.
Okay, so I am a big nerd. That's like the first thing about me. Like I used to play World of Warcraft, all of these things. I've always been super online. Then I went off and studied medicine, and I've always been like a super socially aware person, like super like trying to figure out how stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
And like this comes with the conclusion that the world is kind of fucked, right?
I think we all get there if you look at all, if you look a little bit, right?
Right. It takes a little bit of time, but that's the results from the test.
That's right.
So like and then COVID came, and then it's like, oh, what do I do? And like, am I supposed to like do this? So I started like going to crypto and like finding other ways to do things. Like, I'm really interested in like decentralized communities and how crypto changes the way we interact.
100%.
And how we manage value and money and a lot of things like that. And it all just fascinates me. Right?
Yeah. And by the way, he's not saying it, but I will. Carlos is a doctor and walked away from medicine to develop in this space. Okay. Obviously, that was somewhat informed by the pandemic, a little bit, right? Not a ton, but a little bit. And, you know, he's been developing ever since. So you have a lot of smart people in this space. As you can tell, Carlos has a little bit of an accent, and I don't know if you've doxed where you're from, but, you know.
Oh yeah, from Ecuador.
Okay.
South America.
Yeah, so he lives in Ecuador in South America, and yeah, somebody that I talk to, I don't know, you and I talk at least every day, usually up our hours. But, you know, very, very much welcomed me into the nerd quarters when I was first trying to learn. When I was like, hey, Carlos, I don't understand this for shit. Can you help me break this down? Has helped me advise on other things. So a guy who really, really gets it big picture and is very, very good at building communities. So now, I always give you a hard time in a couple places because obviously you like Bitcoin like anybody else, but you're kind of an Ethereum maximalist. I say that jokingly. Anti-Lion says, so Taxi doesn't ignore your DMs? No, he does, but then he wants to come on my stream, so, you know, he responds.
I'll get on your DMs.
That's right. So were you always that way? I mean, did you, when you first got in, were you like, nah, man, I like Bitcoin, and then you learned about Ethereum, or were you kind of knowledge for both of them?
Like, I kind of like always known Bitcoin, like I've been on Reddit since like forever.
Yeah, sure.
And there's always been talk about Bitcoin and stuff. And actually, I like first got attached to the conversation when Bitcoin Cash happened, but I took the wrong side. So I kind of was let down by the whole thing where it's like,
yeah, it's tough break.
This doesn't work. And I kind of left because I had other things to do.
Sure.
But when I came back on, last year, I kind of found all these things, right? Uniswap V2 had just launched, and it's like, oh, you can LP things now, and my brain went just like running with all the possibilities of LPing stuff, and like, yeah, and balancer and all these things that, and the coolest thing is that, like, as someone from Ecuador, you don't have access to any of these like financial tools.
That's right.
Like early hours in the morning just to play with them, right? And like for me, the biggest thing is just being able to interact with things. So it's been like just discovery, right? Discovering things, discovering what could you do, how to fix problems.
That's right.
And sharing that is what the nerd chat was all about, because I was like, at first I was like talking in the first room I joined. This is funny. It was a Hex room. And I was in Hex trying to talk about decentralized finance, and they were like, no, Hex only here.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this. Like, you were in some other rooms just like talking like big brain, big picture, where this stuff's going to go, like what could we do, blah, 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 blah. And like, they kicked you out, didn't they? Or mute you or something?
Yeah, I mean, they kept censoring my conversation.
Yeah.
They kept like, yeah, you can't talk about that here. I'm like, man, like, I need somewhere where I can just vent, right? And
yeah,
and it was like, I made Nerd Quarter nerds only, and people really like that. I mean, I felt like it was something that there wasn't much of it in the space at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's all about like, oh, this coin is so cheap, it's like 1 cent, whatever. I mean, there's a lot more nuance, right? And I wanted a place for that.
Yeah, I agree entirely, and yeah, I was very impressed with the community that's been built over there. Not just by you, obviously. There's a lot of people over there that help out. But I think you're kind of the head. But I'm just not trying to demean the community effort. But that was kind of your point. The point is build the community and let them help build everything the way that you want it to be built, right? Which I think is pretty
totally
sick.
Not like,
yeah.
Yeah, and I like totally hate like cults of personalities, and it's like, it's so not about me because everything else is just more exciting.
Yeah.
And it's actually about what others find exciting, because we're always like, people bring us ideas and we're like trying to figure out how to make them work. And that's a process that we're really happy to participate on.
Which is wild too, because I remember you and I talking, God, when was that? I don't know, a while ago. And I'm not going to bring it up. Well, it doesn't really matter. But we talked about a couple ideas that I wanted to do. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And I just don't have time. or whatever. And now people have run to the front about about those projects and they've launched them and they've been huge successes. But something that you and I talked about months ago, and we just didn't end up doing. But the point is, Carlos said to me, we want to be there to help people get ideas from ideation to reality. And you guys have done that quite a few times already now, helping people launch NFTs or new projects or whatever, right?
Yeah, actually, we've had a few fairly successful launches. I think most people have seen the Kide D-Balls. Those were a huge success.
Definitely.
We also did just the Funky Monkey Frat House, and we're like actually going to do a long-term partnership with them and Strudel.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's really fun because like every time you do a project, you get like way more people coming in to just like ask for advice or just show their art. So actually Nerd Quarter is starting to become a place where like people just join and say, hey, I'm an NFT poet or whatever. And
sure.
You have this experience of sharing that is very cool. And it's actually what like most people when they come into crypto, it's also daunting, right? There's so much information, there's so much things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, having a place where it's like not about that. I mean, I just walking you through it. I think it's the best thing about Nerd.
Yeah, I would agree entirely. That it's such a different environment, and like that's why I manage Stack Labs as closely as I do, but I want it to be an open environment too, and that it's just who I am as a person, but also like watching how you fostered a good room in Nerd, which is wild and has way more people than we have. But I'm a part of that community too. That's the point. It's not just one or the other.
It's about adding value together because like one big thing about Nerd is that we are friends with you or like we're the same thing but do different like activities.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the conversation actually has been going from the Nerd Chat to Stack Labs, and I'm like super stoked about it because it's the same people.
Yeah.
And you don't have to exclude and that's something. Give Cats Flying Lessons, great name. Something about tribalism.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of like when you come into crypto and when you get like real deep into crypto, you kind of have like this change of mindset, right? And there's actually a term for it, but it's a crypto society, because this is a society, is a post-scarcity society.
Post-scarcity.
Yeah, post-scarcity.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. No, you're fine. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, post-scarcity. And the thing is that in that kind of society, well, in a scarcity society, what you assume is that there's not enough for everyone to go around.
That's right.
So then people start hoarding stuff and excluding others from sharing because they assume if they add more people, they're going to not have enough of their stuff, right?
Yep.
But crypto, you never run out of stuff, right? If it's a coin, because it just gets more expensive.
Sure.
And an NFT just gets more valuable because there's more demand if more people know about it. So in a post-scarcity framework, sharing is actually adding value. It's not removing value.
That's right. Yeah.
And this is super exemplified with the right-click and save NFT people, because they're like, oh, I have your picture, now it's mine, right? And they have that mindset. But if someone just right-click saves my profile picture, they're just like advertising my shit.
Right.
So they're just adding value to my stuff. And what you need, and there's so much stuff that there's no possible way of one individual like going through all the information, right? So it's even like losing value by not sharing because you are bound to lose information.
Yeah, what I would say to add on top of that too is it kind of piggybacks on what I said earlier, just from a pure capitalistic perspective with number go up. My point is the best market and the best time in the history of the world. Well, it's a great time to be collaborative, to help and share, because there's so much money coming into this space because people see what it is, that there's no need. It's not like this is a captive market and there's only so many tulips to buy, right? Like this is ever expanding, it's ever growing, and the more you help others get what they're trying to do, the better we all grow together, which I think is a super sweet sentiment. And obviously I'm here to like, hey, have good feels, but I'm also here to make money. And like, the thing is, those are not mutually exclusive, right? Like,
Right.
And a lot of people, we've all been raised, if you've been raised in a capitalist country, which I have been, where they are, okay? Like they generally are. They are mutually exclusive. So, you know, I love what's done there. Now, you talk about new projects, and I know you wanted to talk about Strudel because Strudel's very interesting, and it kind of goes hand in hand because you just said like the right-click save people on NFTs. I find most of those people to be Bitcoin maxis, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But you created a project with the Nerd Team called Strudel. And I'm going to do my best to try to, so like when I first started streaming, Carlos was a guest almost every single time that we could. And then, you know, when he could make it, I'd just stream. But essentially he would try to tell me things and I would try to regurgitate it back like somebody who's never heard of crypto before. And I think that's what people kind of liked it because I'm just like Joe Stupid Guy when it comes to FA. And he's been helping me. So I do already know about Strudel, but I'm going to have Carlos explain. And I'm going to try to be the guy who doesn't know anything and try to clarify what you're talking about. So get started and talk to me about Strudel. And what website do you want me to pull up?
Go to strudel.finance. Yeah,
Yep.
pastries.
Pastries, let's go. All right, Strudel.finance. I got it up. Go.
Pastry. Right. So let's go to the beginning, right? So in the core, what we are doing is taking Bitcoin and put it in an Ethereum. Put in the Bitcoins in Ethereum.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Now that's called a bridge, and there's a lot of ways to do bridges, right? What people have to know about bridges is that they all have a trade-off, right? There's no perfect bridge. Like there's no way to have just the perfect bridge.
I don't know, man. IBC is pretty good. IBC technology is pretty good.
There's a lot of different ones. But
All right, sorry. We don't talk about that anyway. Go ahead.
We can go through the different, like, most popular Bitcoin bridges, and that's the thing. Bitcoin bridging is a specific subject because most bridges go through like EVM chains, so they're like all using the same standards. But the Bitcoin chain is different because it uses a different transaction model, right?
Yep.
Now, the most common Bitcoin used on Ethereum is called wrapped Bitcoin, and we all know that.
Yep.
And there's one big issue with that, with wrapped Bitcoin, which is that all the wrapped Bitcoins are held by institutional, like trust holders.
Yep.
Right. So there are these like Huboy and these huge, like Bitcoin trustees, have an agreement with the wrapped Bitcoin. Like they have a company and they issue these wrapped Bitcoins in exchange for the ones that they have in custody. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So this is fine, but it's a problem with that decentralization because like if say an earthquake like hit one of these exchanges, right, and the Bitcoins were lost, there would be no way to redeem those, like and the whole thing could collapse, right? So it's a trust issue, and it's okay, it can exist, but there has to be like many different alternatives, so it's not a single point of failure, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, it's trustless, right?
I mean, it's trustless, but like you have to think, like when you think of big picture, you have to think of like 100 years, right? And 100 years could have like a tsunami, could have like a lot of things could happen, right? And you can't guarantee it's going to be trustless. You can assume it's going to be pretty trustless, but what happens if we have to abandon Earth and go to space in 500 years, right? I mean, it's just something that you have to think of when you have something like Ethereum where it's not going to stop.
Yeah, good point.
Right?
No, good point. All right, so yeah, the point is, even with wrapped Bitcoin, it still has a flaw theoretically, because of that on a long term. And so you have the Strudel bridge. It's a trustless one-way bridge from Bitcoin to Ethereum. So
Right.
let's talk about that.
Right. So now you get your. I'll go to that. So you go. So the way that we bridge is one-way bridging, and it's important to understand what we guarantee at the bridge, because the guarantee is that for every Strudel Bitcoin made, an exact same amount of Bitcoins have been like settled on the Bitcoin network.
Sure.
And what that means is that those Bitcoins will never move again on the Bitcoin network. Their ownership is going to be transferred forever through the Strudel Bitcoins.
Got it.
Which is it's a lot like the paper gold bonds that people issue. Like most people never ever claim the bonds; they just trade them and then they sell them.
Right.
And the thing about this is that it's a very cool solution because it makes Bitcoin Ethereum native. It keeps all the properties of Bitcoin, which is mainly the scarcity, right?
Yep.
The
largest one, I'd argue, yeah.
So it's still mined from a miner. It's still sat for sat a Bitcoin, and it's still a great store of value because the only way to get more of these is to use the bridge.
Sure.
So if you put your money in Strudel Bitcoin, you basically have a bet for the future that you're going to be able to store your value long term, because like you said, it's not about the price, it's about getting more tokens.
Sure.
Right? So if you're in the getting more tokens mindset, the fact that these tokens are 27 something $1,000 per is just like a plus expected value in this thesis of I want more Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Because they're sat for sat. Like if you count, you have to count them in the supply, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So that's bringing it to peg. So we kind of jumped ahead of ourselves a little bit on what that is. So I bring that in. How does Strudel fit in itself? And there's been some, not changes, but I feel like you've kind of updated the direction on Strudel to be a little bit more clear for people to understand now. So VBTC, which is what this is here. You can't really see my cursor, but you can see it kind of flashing on the screen. Is essentially Strudel Bitcoin. So things that have been ported over. It's tickers VBTC. You can check it out. It's currently under peg. And Strudel is supposed to and will help bring that back to peg.
Right. So we are actually going to start a new phase of the protocol because at the beginning, the
Alpha
protocol was
Alpha.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
There's a lot about.
I'm listening. I can make money on Alpha. I lean forward. Tell me more.
Okay, so at the beginning, this protocol used basically a bot to try to arbitrage the Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
And this had a problem with it because people said like front running bots, so it didn't work. And we've been moving towards a community-based peg where we're going to implement basically what Michael Saylor did, where he issued debt to buy Bitcoin, right?
Okay, yep.
So just buy as many Bitcoins as he could, and his plan is to just buy Bitcoins forever and never sell them, right?
Yep.
Now, the Strudel protocol has created a set of liquidity pools and a set of structured products that are going to perform well over time because they're like the best on the space. But also, we are now going to be more proactive in the way that the Strudel protocol is looking to interact with Bitcoin, because we're now going to start buying actively Bitcoins for the protocol.
Okay.
With the issuance that we get on the multisig. So what we want to do is to stack sats as a group of people who hold Strudel in order to be able to pay fixed term interest payments in Bitcoin to Strudel holders.
Interesting.
When you have enough sats.
I'm listening.
Right, because the point is, the Strudel.
Oh. Do we lose Carlos? Carlos? He literally ended on the interesting thing.
Okay.
There he is. Okay. The interesting thing was the last thing we heard, and I was like, okay,
right.
this is the most crazy pregnant pause I've ever heard. Okay, like
right. So the interesting thing is that we've capped the supply of Strudel Bitcoins at 21 million.
okay,
Right?
yep,
So now it's a fixed cap. It's only going to be 21 million. So you can calculate like the total market cap of that. So if it's $1, it's a 21 million market cap
yeah, sure,
protocol fully diluted, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we're going to use that issuance, and that issuance is going to be distributed until Bitcoin mining ends. So we have a long time to issue those 21 million.
nice,
And so the point of it is that we're going to strategize so that this treasury is going to start buying BBTC. And if it's above the peg, it's going to do the opposite trade just to keep gaining more tokens, right?
sure,
And once we get to, and actually we could even do this if we get liquid enough. We could do this through a plus EV pool if you're interested. Because Strudel is already on CoinGecko, so it wouldn't be too hard.
interesting. Okay, I'm listening.
So
I'm listening.
You would basically get these fresh powder every period, like day, week, or whatever, to
Okay.
buy Bitcoins in the most profitable way possible for the protocol. And then, I mean, we would constantly keep that in Strudel, right? So this over time is guaranteed to peg if enough people are interested in Bitcoin denominated like yields. Because if we get enough Bitcoins, then we can yield them to people staking Strudels.
Okay. So you know what and I'm sure that you said this is the next phase of the protocol coming out. So I would, yeah. So you said kind of like which is true, and that's in the chat yesterday, Carlos dropped a little sketch of what that looks like. And I think like kind of a linear, like how to participate, because there's multiple ways to participate in Ohm. There's multiple ways to participate in time, and all these types of strategies. I think it'd be interesting to see like this is what the roadmap looks like. And here's how you can get involved, buy this, stake this, LP this, whatever it may be. And this is what the long-term ROI looks like, because I understand what you're saying, and I know we're trying to go. And like I said to you in chat yesterday, like I'll buy a VBTC, and I will. I'm going to soon. So if you guys want to front run me, go for it. But I'm going to buy a VBTC, and I want to see it peg, and know that it will peg. And once I know that it pegs, I'll put in real money into this thing.
Right. And the thing is that when you realize you have to buy, once you buy that BBTC, basically right now, all the liquidity is being put at work on different places. There's a bunch of funds, a bunch of stuff, to the point that there's basically no sellers for BBTC. You can check on chain.
Yeah.
So when you buy BBTC, all you're gonna see is some arbitrage from the pools,
Sure.
and that arbitrage actually puts money into Strudel, because the way it's set up now is you buy BBTC.
And that's the Mare fund?
What? Yeah, but not only that, there's a BBTC Strudel pool. So when you buy
cool.
BBTC, a bot buys Strudel and arbitrages that. Oh, of course, not for the entire percentage, but like for every 1 ETH you put, like 0.1 is put into Strudel. So they're going to go in together, and then the rest of the incentives start kicking in as more people join. The APY and the farms go up, so it's more interesting for farmers to participate.
Yeah.
So they have to buy BBTC, and there's a fixed amount until the peg is met, because no one's going to bridge under the peg, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
You basically have a guarantee that at least this is going to get to the peg before someone else bridges another Bitcoin, which means that there's now more Bitcoins to get. And if he sells that and puts it under the peg, it's now just an arbitrage trade. So basically, it's a fact.
Interesting.
It's a matter of there's not enough people looking right now. But once they do, if you get enough eyes on the pool, no one's going to let it go under the peg, because they're all trying to get more Bitcoins. The only thing right now is that the market just doesn't see the one-to-one relation.
Yeah. I think, and I'm happy to help spread that message too, because I would love to see that laid out, because you're right. I mean, theoretically, I don't know what BTC is right now. I don't know if I can pull it up either. 26, 28. So essentially, you could buy VBTC. Oh, sorry, we were in ads. Appreciate it, Hula Bulu. You could buy a VBTC, and yeah, if it gets $10,000 above peg because the action is happening, like I'd sell the shit out of that, and then I'd buy back when it was under, and kind of repeat the process and help peg that once we got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you get more bit. It's a game to see who gets the most bitcoins.
Interesting. Yeah, the gamification would be interesting too. You should leaderboard that shit.
Oh, we should totally leaderboard. I'm winning though. I'm winning right now.
I'm sure you are.
So hard.
I'm sure you are. All right, so that's pretty wild. So give me like a time frame on this. So like you're rolling out this next phase.
Yeah, we're about to set the time lock. So since we have right now, we have our own little monetary policy, right?
Yep,
So our objectives are to maintain a good strudel price, to buy as many bitcoins as we can. So we're gonna play the chart a little bit. But in the beginning, since we have there's 21 million bitcoins total, there's going to be 21 million strudels. We can go through a little bit of an inflationary phase just to get more VBTC.
Sure.
And it actually doesn't take that much money to peg this. Like, it's actually like for crypto standards, it's very little money. But it's like a group project that we have all to participate on, like to be able to all get. It's like gave us a lot of like great ideas, because what they just did is to get everyone to do the same thing, like everyone do what's best for the protocol.
Have you talked with them, or are you just saying you looked at their advantage?
We're talking to them. We're actually looking to get onto it, and we're still in early talks to get into the Pro.
Really? Like, really? Get that? Really?
Really? Yeah.
Really?
That's.
You had my attention already.
Right. It's an aspiration, but.
Yeah. I think you got to show some. If you show some traction,
right.
They'll.
Right, because this is right up their alley too. Because their bonds would help a lot too. Because you can offer strudel denominated bonds for Bitcoin, right? And that's basically a constant buy order for the thing. So it's like fairly simple, and the cool thing is that the strudel Bitcoin has the same properties as Bitcoin. Like, it's the best asset to hold your value in because it's Bitcoin.
Have you talked to Daniel from Time Wonderland Money at all?
No, I haven't. Isn't he on the Avex though?
Yeah, well, he's everywhere, dude. Because that's he was Spell, Ice, Time. It's all the same guy. So I don't know him per se, but I do kind of know him. So I probably could connect you if you want to chat with him too.
I'd love to. He's very smart.
Yeah, I mean, extremely. He's like the hottest guy in crypto right now.
Right.
Like, everybody wants him.
New under Crongy?
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about Andre. I'm not going to get into that now, but like.
Don't start.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I know. Andre, like, you genuflect when you see a picture of Andre, so I get it. But yeah, no, I'd be happy to try to connect you, to have a conversation. My understanding is that he's all about building and all that stuff too. So
yeah, it'd be great. I'm sure he'd have fun on the nerd chat.
Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah,
we're playing a game. We have a rolling bet right now for little web, like, Java game. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. What is it?
It's like a wood, like a woodcutter game. It's so dumb, but there's a leaderboard, and someone just
dude
has been playing that for an hour.
I have way too addictive a personality to get involved in shit like that, dude.
Yeah. Oh, let's have you. Did you have a VR set already?
Do I have a VR set? No, I don't.
I've been playing VR golf.
It's not that I don't want to get into VR. I just spent so much money on my computer setup that my wife would be like, "You serious? Like, if you're thinking about changing?" Bro. So look, all right, people don't want to hear us talk about VR golf, but it's very hard for me to be like, yeah, VR golf, when I have golf in my garage. I have my simulator, so it's tough.
Right, but your simulator is not multiplayer. You can't play on your simulator with me.
Well, I can't. Actually, I can. I play matches against people all the time.
Oh, fuck. All right. You spend way too much money on the simulator, though.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't cheat, but it's it's worth it.
All right.
It is worth it. But no, I mean, look, I get it. So by the way, guys, just looking anecdotally, if you believe that we're going down, come on, you stupid ass, there, and we're gonna retest further, but go up first, I would think about going to cash at 42.20 if we get back up there. If it rejects, just real quick. 10 monitors should be enough. Yeah, hashtag wife. No, it's only 6 monitors, but I was thinking about adding like a 50-incher, and that's where things started to run off the rails for me. And I was like, I'm going to stop talking now. And she was like, that's a good idea. So, you know, that's where that went. All right, so talk to me about, so Strul, you'll keep updating us.
Yeah.
And when these things are coming, yeah, please do. Obviously, you know that I'll get involved whenever you need to, but you know, the point of this thing coming back, and you know, I've never known Carlos to not be a man of his word on shit that he's trying to do. So take a look at it, learn, go into the Nerd Quarter. Somebody post the invite link for the Nerd Quarter, and please appropriately label it in the chat to say Telegram link for Nerd, and then you can also join Stack Labs, and we'll send you over there too. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, really good stuff. And like what I would say about Nerd, like we came to begin with, very collaborative. If you're trying to learn more, somebody just asked a question about DeFi 1.0 and DeFi 2.0, which is totally reasonable. What the hell does that even mean? Like that's what I'm gonna ask Carlos here in a moment. If you don't understand things, go in there and ask a question. It might not be Carlos or Tom or you know any of the guys that are that you see all the time, but there's people in there who will answer questions and help you get the resources that you need. A really great place to up your literacy when it comes to crypto, I would say.
And memes.
And memes. Meme game is on point. All right. So talk to me about what is happening. Thank you, Jaspo, for posting that appropriately in the manner that I requested. Thank you, sir. So join the Telegram, and Tom did it too. Sick. So what happens next in DeFi? I have my own theories, but you've been a big DeFi guy for a while. You're also way into NFTs. In fact, last time I had you on, we were talking about Andre's NFTs on Phantom. I assume that's gone well. Have you been following that?
I kind of fell the trail of that one, and that goes to the point that they're going to be super valuable because the guys who stick with it are going to have like something super rare.
Yeah. Didn't somebody in here say they did like 9 or something? Like I created 9 accounts or something like that.
I think I said that when I started, but like 8 of them just lasted for a day. I mean, they're still there, but level up.
Yeah, they're not building day by day.
Right.
All right, so DeFi 1.0, DeFi 2.0, you have all these different things that are happening, lending, liquidity, DYDX. We got leverage trading on chain now, which, by the way, I'd be curious to see what happened on DYDX during this flash today or this crash today.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked.
I haven't checked either.
Yeah, I just realized I'm not supposed to be a leverage trader. I'm gonna leave that for other people. It's not a good use of my time, and maybe no one's time. Actually, like the only real way to use leverage is if you open a short position to cover your longs, and no one does it.
That's right. That's really what the intent is, by the way, and no one does it that way. The intent of leverage, if you guys didn't hear what he said, was to cover longs. Like you essentially can take a small portion of something in your account and lever it to cover another position, so it essentially nets you out as neutral. That was the whole idea, and it turned into degen gambling paradise.
Yeah. But anyways, like, more to the other question, I think it's super interesting. Remember we talked about primitives?
Yes.
And building blocks?
Yes.
Right. So DeFi 1.0 is like the foundation layer of everything else.
Yep.
Right. So like, and the key example is Uniswap. Like everything runs on a DEX somehow.
Yep.
Like every loan, liquidation, everything needs to eventually use a DEX. So like if you want to bet that the foundational layer of decentralized finance is going to get bigger and more robust, you should be buying like these, like basically a DPI, right? And
so essentially you said DPI. So like what I've talked about potentially, what I've said about the fund all along is it's pretty much only ever going to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and move to stables, and I left myself some wiggle room to buy DPI. because that's the only other thing I would consider buying.
Right, because it's like the foundation layer, and it's super important because everything else runs in that.
Yeah.
It's like betting on Microsoft.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but the thing is that these products enable what they every time a new primitive comes along, what it does is that it opens a lot of design space. So
Hold on,
for
say that
example,
again. It opens a what?
a lot of design space.
Okay, yep.
Like a lot of possibilities for new things to happen. So a great example for this is Alchemix, where it's building on top of Yearn's, on top of two things actually, which is the lending market, which pays interest,
Yep.
and Yearn's market aggregation, which optimizes that interest, so that these platforms can offer self-paying loans on your money, right?
Yep.
So it's like an entirely new thing that no one could think could happen until these things were available,
So essentially, you can take out a loan and pay it with the loan will pay itself.
with the interest on the deposit.
That's pretty insane.
It's super insane, and thinking long term, like college payments, mortgage
Oh, God,
payments. It opens like healthcare. It opens a lot of possibilities on what you can do with money.
To what
And-
extent can that be leveraged, though? So, like, taking a step back here, and this is what I used to do to you all the time when we would talk. So,
Uh-huh.
like, there's some risk in that, right?
I mean, you have the risk of the lending market collapsing, but what you do is the way to do that, because the catch is that the loan is denominated on the same thing that you are taking it against.
Sure.
So it's like dollar for dollar loan.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you have to do is, for example, if you have $100,000 in ETH, you can leverage like 50%, like sort of safely, like with enough wiggle room to just take the loss, right?
Yeah, right.
And then with the loan amount, you turn it into dollars, and then you deposit that. So there's diminishing returns.
I see what
on
you're
what
saying.
You can,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all over levered, right?
Yep. Makes sense. So there's a bit of a house of cards being built there, but you can leverage it appropriately and not be a complete idiot.
Oh, I mean, compared to like the traditional lending market, like what real banks do, this is like super cool. This is like economist dreams.
Yeah.
Like this is what they all wanted, because this is over collateralized. Like all these is over collateralized, so
Yeah.
it's not like a bubble with like there's
Yeah,
no
where there's
possibility of a bank
there's no
run.
asset to back up the loan. Yeah, it's the funniest thing because it is literally like, what we're talking about is what's fucked the U.S. economy, because there are essentially loans and debt's been taken out that's just been made up.
Mhm.
And if you were forced to build and innovate in a society where you had to have collateralization and where there was not like a verbal trust but an on-chain trust, so
And it's
trustless.
It's
Yeah.
also liquidated the moment it stops being like enough to pay the thing.
That's right.
So it's not like you have to knock on the person's door to evict them to sell the
Yeah,
property.
it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal. Like it's literally, if you think of it, I was talking about this the other day when I said like I had a dream about like society of crypto developing, but like loans are self-managed, voting is a piece of cake, taxes are earned off of protocol yields. Like there's so many things that are just like in building of a society are completely gone if you do it the right way. It's so funny.
And the thing is that the space for innovation is in reimagining the structures that we need right now,
Yeah.
but also like being able to imagine they don't exist for a minute. And let me give you a good example on music NFTs.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
There hasn't been a big music NFT yet.
What was that one? Like the album one? It like was super hot. It was Bonding Curve. You could like mint
Oh, there's that one. It's called Euler Beat.
Euler Beats. Yeah,
Yeah.
Euler Beats was big. That was it though. That was like one.
That was it. And it hasn't become like because NFTs like end up becoming like a cultural thing where everyone knows about them.
For sure.
Like, but Euler Beats aren't there, right? They aren't hot. The music was also like classical music, so it didn't help.
Three Loud.
Freelow. I haven't heard. I know about Dead Beef. Dead Beef's great, but again, like it hasn't gone to the levels that Profile Pictures have, or like to what you expect from like a album. And just think about it. Music is probably the hottest like art medium like before crypto
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
Like the most consumed. Um, and the thing is that with music you have this format with songs and albums which are just like a representation of how it's monetized, but you could come up with an entirely new musical structure and monetize it in an entirely different way that doesn't even resemble an album, or maybe just picks like the good parts about an album and it's entirely different in the way it's presented.
Well, it's kind of like with that news yesterday that the Pleaser DAO bought that Wu-Tang album.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's like instead of an album, you could think of like a really really long song, and you could split that in a lot of pieces.
Well, that's the funny thing about it. Like, you could. I'm curious to see what Pleaser DAO is going to do with that.
Yeah.
So Jose Vera said, 3Lao and Nifty Gateway, he'll pay dividends to his holders on the music earnings. That's a great way to do it. I've thought about that for a long time because the way that if you were to try to take a current situation with music and like pay management and writers and producers and whatever, it's kind of a pain in the ass right now. Like, there's a whole centralized accounting structure. It's software that's dumb, but it takes time to do it. And like, I have friends who are in the music industry, and the time from like music creation to money being paid is an extremely long time. Okay.
Right.
An extremely long time. A smart contract handles that day one.
And instantly, yeah.
Instantly.
all the time.
So that alone completely changes the music atmosphere. That
Right.
alone.
And it's going to run on Uniswap and like a loan from Aave and like stuff like that. So back to the initial topic, what's DeFi 2.0?
Yeah.
It's like any money solution for like any other purpose built on top of the existing primitives.
Sure.
So there's a possibility for like insurance, like group
Oh,
investment
yeah.
devices,
Absolutely.
like stuff like what you're doing is technically DeFi 2.0 because it's you're over a layer of Uniswap, right? You're just controlling assets that are traded on Uniswap.
That's right.
Instead of being the algorithm, it's just you swapping them back and forth.
Right. Right. Essentially, it's brain power as a service, but it's enabled by DeFi 2.0. Right.
Mhm.
By the way,
Yeah,
I'm talking with
DeFi
them
1.0.
in an hour and 20 minutes. I meant to say this earlier today, but we're one of the largest funds to ever grow.
Wow.
Without any ads on token sets, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm talking to like one of their market feedback guys, and I think the CEO at 4:30, which is pretty wild to like give feedback on what happened and what we'd like to see. So when we get off, I'll be going to the chat and be like, "What sucks about token sets?" So we can tell them how to make it better. But I feel like they will truly listen. You know?
Yeah, I mean they built an incredible product, and actually, the DPI is built on top of this
Yeah.
is called a set protocol.
Yep.
So all the things, like most of the things we use, are built on top of that, the pool devices. So it's a very significant thing. I wonder when they release a token. That'll be great.
I know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm trying to ask him what's in the works because there's some issues that I don't particularly love right now. But you know, I love how easy that was. It cost me a lot of money to set it up,
Yeah.
like a lot of money to set it up. But you know, it's pretty cool. So
And eventually that could technically work with a roll-up where it's like the Plus EV fund is a roll-up that you can trade on, and it would like aggregate. So what you could do is like the set protocol could pass all the transactions from all the funds in a given period.
sure.
But it's gonna be like the user experience is gonna get way better. What they needed is people like you to use the products.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people don't see it, and like, look, to be honest, the trading behind the wall of the fund is what interested me in it, and then a lot of people were more interested than I thought in tagging along. So that's kind of how that started. But that's just me having an idea and running with it. and people saying I'll get involved, right? Like that's
Right.
pretty nuts.
And that's the spirit of the nerd quarter.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, because you probably learned about said protocols like somewhere along the conversation.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea where the hell I learned about it, but yeah, I'm sure it was either
We talked
osmosis
about
or.
it. You know, when we talked about it, we talked about Stacked and how they were like
Oh yeah, you're right.
centralized.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
right.
we saw said protocol.
Yeah. So Stacked is essentially going to be like a centralized for normies. Which, by the way, I've been given not like a huge heads up, but a little bit of an idea about what Stack's going to be doing in the next 6 months. It's going to be the coolest shit ever, man. Now it's going to be the coolest shit for normies, and I'm so excited about that because. Like Stacked and helping people get on who aren't currently in crypto, it's going to be a way where like you can essentially just set and forget it for people that don't know anything about crypto. And that's like, all right, so that's just like a way for people to make money. No, it's not, because that's how you start learning, man. Like Stacked is the shit that we need to have happen to onboard more people faster. And I will die on the hill, man. What Steven and what Joel and what Alan and those guys are building. Yeah.
When that quote was issued, it was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Super, super sick. So anyway, very, very good stuff. All right. So somebody asked, Kajeka asked, and then we'll kind of go into questions and pivot here a little bit. But Kajeka asked, Ataxia, what do you think about Cosmos ecosystem versus Ethereum? Because they will, and it sounds like probably will interact relatively soon. There's already a bridge with the SIF chain. And IBC is onboarding potentially Avalanche, which is like, a one step away from Ethereum. But I mean, are you very familiar with that with Atom? Not really. What do you think about it?
I mean, I haven't like I've always known Atom was gonna be like a very big deal because of how they position themselves in the space.
Okay.
Because, and I think you guys were mentioning stuff about Layer 0 and stuff like that.
Yeah, Layer 0. Yep.
And just like the reality of it is that Ethereum is trying to be the money engine for the world, and anything can plug onto that. And Atom is trying to build the most comprehensive like bridges, like it's sitting in the middle of everything.
It is.
So
yeah.
So the way that Ethereum, like it's a lot about like what we were talking about at the start, about what the whole ethos of this is. More people growing the network, more networks coming in together just makes the whole thing better and more robust. And there's more avenues and places where people can transact and do their stuff.
Sure.
And you're gonna see like many different groups adopt these different spaces as the first ones get filled, because that's just the nature of things, right? And I have this idea when people talk about the NFT market being saturated, for example, there's basically a market for people to get rich off of NFTs at every price point between 0 and infinity.
Yeah.
Because people are just in the market, like, and they have a price, and at the end of the day, they're just going to pay their price, right? So there's a market for one NFT at every price point.
The funny thing is, along those same lines, I always talk about SPX hammered in the close. Get out, fuck out of here, man. That's gonna be nice. Let me look at that really quick. Yeah, looks like it. This is still trading because it's a futures contract, but if that's where SPX closed, that's very good. The thing about that, people always talk about like if you had gotten into Bitcoin super, super early, what would you have done? I gotta be honest with you, there's no fucking way I would have held it this long.
Right.
Because there's no way I would have been that bought in at the time. Like it would have been a trade to me, and I would have definitely traded and lost. Like that's just how it was. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't really get into it until I started to understand the FA anymore. But to your point, there's a price people are willing to pay. Nobody, when Bitcoin was $200, nobody thought people would be loading in at 63,000, 60,000.
Right. Yeah, and it's more about like adding value, right? I think I term it the value add age, or the age of value add, wherever you want to market it. But it's about networks coming online and adding value. If your network, for example, I'm bullish on Tezos
Yep.
because people are making art on Tezos, and there is a community of people who are just doing stuff there, and they're not gonna stop. I mean, like nothing of this, none of this. And this is what baffles me. Like when people talk about like this is the last run, and then it's bear market, whatever. Like, what are we going back to?
Right.
Right?
Right.
We are just going back to our day jobs, and like, I mean, this is the like the framework for everything.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And like it just takes time and people loading onto that, right? To really start to get it.
Yeah, and also like having all the tools to not have to leave, because that's like the most important thing when when you can just go into the system, create wealth within it, and not have to leave. Then it's doable, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Jasper, a lot of people still do their day job, man. Don't worry about it. It's not unique to you, man. Keep grinding. That's why we do this stuff. Keep grinding.
Yeah.
The point is keep grinding and participate. And I know you already do, Jasper. So, participating and getting involved in communities, I think, are a big deal. So SPX hammered in and they're closed. I have on the screen the Spaceman key level chart. I will pull up Tezos in a second here. And this is a pretty interesting spot we're at right now. It is a pretty interesting spot where we sit at this moment. The hell is Boost? What is Boost?
Boost.
Day jobs give us a stability while learning, man. It's all a vibe. Brandon, 100% correct, man. 100% correct. The Buddha head looks so bearish. Yeah. Tezos mentioned flipping 62.5. Yeah, I mean, you would really like to just really quick anecdotal. I got to jump in here and do this. I'm deleting that so it makes this a little bit more clear. Remember, guys, if you ever look at a chart during those periods of during these periods of volatility and you're like, fuck, I don't know, keep zooming out until it makes sense. Okay, this is just like general life advice, and I don't mean just on charts. Like life advice. If you're in an argument with somebody and it still doesn't make sense, zoom out. Okay, like what are they talking about? Where are they coming from? That's like the seek to understand idea. For those of you who follow, you know what that's called. That's right. 62 was resistance a week ago. So yeah, we have this zone in here that we flipped, and people have been taking profits. So, it doesn't trip me out really. Here's my fear, and I've done a few of these before that have aged well because they've been somewhat accurate. Whenever you have this, okay, over a channel that's been respected for a pretty long time, if you fail the channel, meaning that price comes back down and it can't regain it, I'll make that a different color so people can clear amidst all the fucking shit that's on my screen right now. I'll turn off Spaceman for the sake of this conversation. If you have an attempt at a parabolic breakout beyond a channel or beyond a TRL, and you fail back into the channel, try to regain the channel, and you cannot, you pretty much always test the other side of the channel, like almost always. Not 100% of the time, but a lot. Okay? So, am I worried yet? No. But I would much prefer us hold my lines that I started the stream off talking about, which is right here. And not, if that doesn't happen, don't fail back into the channel, because that is very bad news for us if that shit happens.
So that could only happen if, like, Powell solves inflation.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's so many like macro fucking fucking catalysts going on right now that make no sense. For one, this pullback makes no sense because SPX just hammered into an all-time high. And there's a lot of other things happening too. But this is, I don't know. You know what this looks like? This looks like what happens before you see a weekend rip that ends with everybody from CT being like, I told you, man, we were going to 75K. That was the dip. You guys are idiots. And everyone is going to be taking victory laps, okay? Like, I swear to God, this is what it looks like. Now, you got to have a trigger. Triggers are the hardest concept in trading, and most people don't get it. So, you know, do with that what you will. But we very, very much want to hold this area because if we fail, it's going to be pretty shitty out here for a minute.
Yeah.
For a minute.
And that'd be so boring.
Yeah, it would really suck. It would really suck. Weather's getting shitty too, man. So it's like weather gets bad and whatever. You know, the case for like maintaining on Ethereum is actually better. And I meant to say this when I was talking about Bitcoin, but then dude was being like, "Are you even a good trader?" And then I got sidetracked. But see the slope of like this UTL on Ethereum. It'll take you a second to see it if you're actually looking. But like it's a little bit. It's less severe on a daily. Like if you go back even further, like it looks like that looks not bad. It's just kind of scalloping along the trend line. Like that's a trend. Hey guys, look, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Any sort of higher low in this area down to really, oh God, I would even say down to like 3880 is good, right? You maintain structure on Ethereum. So, you know, you say, all right, this looks pretty damn good. Look at this.
3880 would be a long the fuck out of it.
Absolutely, it would be. You get this DTL backtest, you get this UTL, you get the SR flip, whatever it is. Like, it's 3 reasons to get long, and you will see me long the absolute shit out of that if there's a trigger. If there's a trigger, which means a reversal sign, not just longing it because it hits the area. That's a key point. I'm never going to stop saying that as long as I fucking stream, okay? Now, look at the slope on Bitcoin. This is the 12-hour. Look at the daily. Like, that's just a pretty hardcore, it's a steep upward trend line, which, if you follow Wyckoff, is what happens, okay? If you follow Wyckoff, fucking dude, so, all right, that guy's roped in. He's going to be playing Lumberjack forever. Good Lord. Hold on, I gotta find my... Yeah, so we're at SOS essentially on the Wyckoff reaccumulation. So we completed the entire Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic, and here we sit. So a lot of times that is a move sideways. Oh, by the way, you guys, I should have warned you. Carlos has the loudest keyboard in the history of time.
Sorry. I haven't been typing for 2 hours. Almost.
Yeah, that's all right. No, I get you. Yeah, typical ladder. What is your preferred? What are your comment? Yeah. So there's a bunch of different triggers, guys. I should do a stream on that again. Yeah, ladder. Like okay. You got double bottom, right? So this is an H pattern, which is pretty bearish, but you know, if you get a double bottom, 1, 2, turn back up, and you take out the intervening, like the top of the H on a double bottom, that's a potential long trigger, okay? That'd be essentially long here when you break over that pivot and a stop below the lows. Like that's an ABC trigger or a 1, 2, 3. That'd be one of them off of a double bottom. You could also do a range recapture on a double bottom, which would be along from there. So these are a couple of different triggers that you can look at and use. You also don't have to hit the first trigger, right? Like with any time frame, you look for trend reversals. So by the way, people are going son of a bitch right now. I knew that was the top on Bitcoin, okay? Let's say that's true. people right now are shorting the lows, and it may be done. Maybe we go down and we retest. However, I would short the rejection. I would not short here. I just absolutely right-clicked as I was doing that. If you really felt that way, which I do not, but you reject the pivot flip from the downside that's unable to get up, essentially that it's a confirmation of a lower high. That's a trend reversal continuation pattern. That's a trigger if you can't fail to get over. What people typically do, particularly people who don't know what they're doing trading, no offense, is you essentially say, I like this area a lot, therefore I will put my bids here, and if it gets there, I will buy it. And here's the thing. In crypto, that works a lot more than it should. It does. It works a lot more than it should. You will get destroyed in the standard marketplace if you just buy an area because they're a lot more manipulated, I guess. Maybe that's the right way to put it. I don't know. A lot more manipulated. But you can't just like layer bids into an area. I have talked about stink bids before, and it's something that I do just because crypto's stupid, but it does not mean that like it's all that I do. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You don't just layer bids into an area. You got to be smart. Right? Manipulators. That's right. They do manipulate, dude. That's what happens in the standard marketplace. So this UTL right here is like right now. It's being challenged. And I do not enjoy that. This makes me nervous. I don't want to be nervous. I want to have fun.
Yeah. FBTC is going... I mean, it's getting a bit. There's definitely a rotation happening.
Yeah.
But maybe they overdid it.
Yeah, it's funny that, ETHBTC is still moving. Yeah, you know what's funny? So the Buddha had just made a good point. He said, standard marketplace, heavily regulated and still manipulated. Dude, the trading bots and the algos on exchanges, you have no idea how much everything is controlled by bots.
Oh yeah, it's all robots. But that's the fairest market that you're ever gonna get.
New book, Crypto Essential by Jared. Crypto is stupid. Yeah, when it comes to trading, crypto is stupid. It's so irrational because people take trading like idioms from the standard marketplace where there's literally every penny in the known world in there. Right. And they use that to say it's going to be the same thing in crypto. No, man, we got really thin books. Like,
I mean, they're getting deeper.
Okay. Yes. They are deeper relative to where they were. They are not deep. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
For real money.
Yeah, you can't take the same essential what's the word I'm going for here? You can't take what is generally held to be true in the standard marketplace and always apply it here. In fact, I got smoked just like real quick. When I first came over to crypto and I was used to trading futures and stocks or whatever. Pilkers, what's up? Or is it Pillikers? Pillikers? I don't know. We'll find out. I got smoked because I would literally do this. I'd be like, all right, sweet. Let's say we get a breakout right here. And I was trading this instrument. We get a breakout here. Okay, I'm going to delete this because it's annoying me. I would long this like essentially breaking out of a pivot. And I'd set my stops like right here. From the Netherlands. I love the Netherlands. I liked it better when Gini Wijnaldum was still on Liverpool, not on PSG, but we still got Virgil van Dijk, so it's all good. So yeah, like I would set my stop like where you could do it in the standard marketplace, where essentially you'd like maybe just barely hit it below the recent lows, and I got wicked out like every time.
Yeah.
Nibbler says that looks like a trade I would take every day, which explains my P&L. Yeah, like you have to. People talk about R a lot, and like when I trade in the standard marketplace, I look for 5R trades. So 5R trades, for those who don't know, essentially you're willing to take on this amount of risk, so 0.69% down here, which means you want to get to 5 times that return on your trade. Okay, so 5R trade would be here. So essentially, son of a bitch, right when I'm vibing, an ad plays. You see this shit, man? Just brutal.
We need a decentralized Twitch.
I know. Dude, that's not a bad idea. No shit, dude. Oh my God.
I mean, it's pretty hard. There's a few guys trying. There's one, at least one I know of that has people streaming.
There's a decentralized Twitch that has people streaming?
Yeah. It's called, I'll look up the name. If someone knows.
That's pretty nuts. I would love.
I think it was called Lemon.
All right, well, send me afterwards because I can't look that shit up right now.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
All right, let me know when people are back.
Theta. Oh yeah, Theta has streams.
Theta? Okay, got it. Is the streaming coin? That's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's actually. Haven't you heard of it before? I thought it was new.
Carlos, man, I got like so much space in my head. All right, like I'm sure that I have, and I'm sure when I start looking at it, it will come back. But no, I don't recall that. All right, so we're back. What I was saying was a 5R trade in in standard marketplace is what you want, right? Like that is an amazing trade. Essentially, you take your risk and you can take a 5R return, meaning that all you have to do is get really 2 out of 10 trades right and you're break even. Actually, you'd be slightly profitable. And if you got 1 out of 10 right, you're not that bad. And if you got 3 out of 10, you're crushing it, okay? Like this is risk management, which will be a heavy portion of my free class, okay? Yeah, I heard you, Pillikers. I will answer your question. So with crypto, you have to take a wider stop, right? Which means you have to readjust your R targets, right? So right there, that's like it's not even a 1R trade if you're just trying to get to the top of the zone. So that trade's not worth taking. So you have to like really look at the right places and try to like bottom range trade, a top of range trade. A 3R trade in crypto is not bad, but you got to be a lot more accurate. And when you do get 5 or 7R opportunities, you got to take them because they pay for a lot of losers where bullshit happens. And it took me a while to adjust to that. So Pilliker said, so many robots, AI manipulations, how to be smart and trade against them to make money. The reason why you don't make money against bots and the reason why you don't make money against AI and things that are being manipulated is because you trade on time frames like this. 30 minutes or an hour. Okay. In the standard marketplace, that's 5-minute charts. Like if you try to trade Apple or Tesla on a 5-minute chart, you're going to get destroyed because they'll just see you come in and they'll wax you out of it. If you don't have a good spot, they know exactly how to press you in and out of your positions if you don't know what you're doing. And they know exactly what TA looks like on a chart, and they know exactly where to paint lines on a chart to get you to FOMO in if you don't have the proper trigger, okay? So the reason why you can get manipulated is on a low time frame, you will lose. These bots are making decisions in nanoseconds, right? To go against what's happening. They're getting news immediately and factoring it into their decision hours before you'll ever see it. Okay? There's a service, I forget what it's called, but I think it costs something like $2,000 a month to have live news sent to your terminal on your computer. $2,000 like a month for traders, just so I have it to be like, oh shit, and I can close my position early if something crazy happens. It's like all you need is one bombing or one default that wasn't anticipated to happen, and that product pays for itself because you can hedge, right? So there's ways to do that.
Also,
Bloomberg terminal, 100%.
A lot of this is on chain.
Yeah,
makes that information asymmetry like much different than the standard markets. It's much more fair because you can see money moving.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I was reading Algo Dude's message, which is a good one. Stops varying every symbol. Yeah, you have to adjust to whatever it is that you're trading. Like, I would get smoked all the time, and quite frankly, I always say trade with a stop in place, which is true. But the stops that I put in place are my emergency stops. They're the ones where I'm like, oh fuck, I need to protect myself. Like if this fails, oh my God. Because like, look at what happened today. There was a better way to get out even on this wick down. Look at this. Okay. We came down, came all the way back up again, and then back down. And in fact, I think in Stack Lab, I was talking about it. There's a couple ways you can look at these events. Either somebody knows something that we don't, and we're going to go fill in that wick, or it was just a stop hunt and we're going to continue higher. Well, if you have your stops right below zone, you get stopped out here, it comes back up, you're pissed off. If you wait and kind of react with your stops in an emergency place, so in this case, way down low, which is where my stops presently are, then you can still, sell the retrace and get out with a better loss and kind of improve your trades a little bit. I also don't trade with leverage much at all, if not ever, so I don't really give a shit. So it's not like I'm like, oh my God, my liquidation is close. You just have to adjust to the deal. So anyway, where I was going with the point on how do you beat the AI, how do you beat the system is you have to look for high value areas on high time frames, on every instrument, everywhere, because they cannot manipulate on that level. Does that make sense? So like they can manipulate minute charts, 5 minutes, 15, 30, hour, maybe even 4 hourly, maybe even like intraday, 2 days worth. But there are so many more algos and so much more money that exists out there where if there's some aberration in the marketplace with like mega or macro market structure of an item, and it's been just fucked around with some sort of bot or algorithm, there's always somebody who has more money than you that will put you in jail. So these guys don't screw around with stuff more than intraday. They just scalp intraday and they get rookies and they take their money until they figure it out. So Pelican, yes, you have to look at high time frame in everything and then find your high value spots and decide to enter a trade. So if you say, I really want to long the pivot or the retest down here, okay, I'm going to circle this area because I know this is a very big area that Bitcoin needs to hold, which is what we held, by the way. And I want to find some sort of area there and look for an appropriate trigger. That's how you do this stuff. Start high and then go, okay, let's look at the daily. Is there any more supporting evidence around that area? Yep, I see the TRL. I see the smaller TRL. I see the channel top. Okay, perfect. Let's go a little bit further. And you can drill down and find supporting evidence. And here's the thing. If the evidence does not support, you don't take the trade. Which is why people screw up. They force trades. They put yourself in a bad spot. And you go, well, I really like the area, so I just bought. Like, well, you didn't really have a trigger. Like, here's the thing. On Bitcoin right now, I hope we hold this area. In fact, I'm hoping, pretty sure we will. But I will buy and add more between 6,300 and 6,800. 60,800, 60,800. Because I like that area. There's a couple things that I see and a couple points of alpha that I have that if we got a wick down here, I would buy it. So I know that it's near the SR zone, but I would also have a pretty clear invalidation down below and take that trade. So start high time frame, go lower. You are welcome, Algo Dude. People, and you've probably heard this saying before, the only way to get a salary out of the market is if you do some super big brain shit like Ataxia and you create new markets or create new things that will pay you recurring revenue because you created them, right? Or have a service that will do it, or you yield farm. Those are the ways to get salaries out of the market. Okay?
Yeah.
What people do in trading, which is why most people get cracked, is this. They try to take a salary out of the market. Well, what do you mean by that, Jared? Well, I used to make $5,000 a month in my salary, in my job, because I was making $60,000 a year. If you break down 60,000 divided by 365, that means I need to make $164 a day. So where is the trade that I'm going to make $164 today? I'm going to force it.
Right.
And so people try to force trades to hit that. And what people don't understand is you just have to wait for conditions to approve, and you don't make $164 a day. You make $16,000 in a day, and you just bought yourself 100 days, right? Like, that's how you do this. You wait for conditions to be perfect, and you buy 100 days, and then you have the next. If you did that on day 40, now you have 60 free days to try to find the next one, okay? But that's not how people think. Everybody wants to see. We are so wage cucked. This is. See, I'm getting close to soapbox area again, Carlos. Can you hear it? I can feel it. Okay. We are so unbelievably brainwashed on that 1st and 15th, or every other Wednesday, or every other Friday paycheck. You want to see your account going up. If it's not going up, I'm losing. You get in your own head. You have anxiety. Blah 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 blah. We are so unbelievably wage cucked and just brainwashed about that coming in that you want to see it. And when you don't, you get nervous and it forces you into doing stupid shit. And when you get anxiety and you become nervous and you get forced into doing different shit, guess what happens?
You lose.
You lose. And now you don't need $164 a day. You need $212 a day because you're now operating from behind, right? Like, so right. You got to do more.
And you're underwater and it's a downtrend that lasts for 3 months.
And so now you're forcing, and it's a downtrend, but you're in your brain, you're macro bullish. And so it's really hard for you to take great short setups because you cannot separate your emotions from the chart, which is why we talk about all the time, actually inverting your chart and giving yourself both sides of this. Okay?
That looks great.
Doesn't it? So you have to find ways to Jedi mind trick. If you come into Stacked Labs, which I know a lot of you guys are new today, and I love that you're here, and I hope you stay, and I hope you come back and hang out because I'm here to help, as is Carlos, right? As is anybody else. You see a Corian, you see Pillikers, you see, I'm sorry, not Pillikers, but you see XXT and Careless and other guys in the chat. These guys will all help you if you want to get better. If you don't want to get better, that's on you. But if you ever spend any time in the Stacked Labs chat or hanging out with me, one of the books I always recommend is Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I talked about it on Kaz's stream. I've talked it on my own. I've been on Ledger stream before. I don't think I ever talked about it. But like, the point is, I can teach you everything I know about technical analysis, everything from A to Z that I've learned over a decade of doing this, if not longer. Actually, it's like 12 years now. I can teach you everything that I know. Kaz can teach you everything he knows. Cred can teach you everything he knows. Emperor can teach you everything he knows. And you can have all that shit on lock, where at a moment's notice you can diagnose a chart. If you cannot master your own brain, you are going to lose money.
Yep.
And there's no way around that. There's no way around that. Yeah, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. It's Mark with a K, not a C. But yes, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Mark Douglas also has YouTube videos that you can go on and look at seminars. Mark has since passed away. He got cancer, which is terrible. But when I first started reading him, he was still alive. And yeah, the guy's an absolute magician. It's, yeah,
Also,
go ahead.
I'd like to say, like, there's a lot of money to be made in like long-term plays.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people like getting, like you said, get like FOMO and anxiety. And a lot of times, if you just held the Ethereums that you had last year, you would probably be in a much better place. So, like risk management and portfolio allocation to the stuff that you're doing is very important.
Absolutely.
In the sense that you want to have different types of bets, because like I have a lot of NFTs, but I didn't give up my Ethereum for it because
Yeah.
Otherwise I'd be like very sad right now, right?
No shit. Seriously. And finding ways to have a strategy in your portfolio, which is, you're going to be like, yeah, no shit, my strategy is number go up. No, that's an outcome. Okay. What is your strategy? What is your strategy? Okay. Pillikers just said something, and like, I'm quite new to trading and I just lost 5K. What would you advise that I do? Yes, I'm going to follow you from now on. Dude, follow me or don't. I'll give you advice. I don't really care. I'm not in this for the money, quite frankly. I don't, I do this because it's fun. I like to talk to people like Carlos. And just before I answer your question, the reason why I wanted to do this to begin with is so I could get people like Carlos to talk to me. He would have anyway. But the point is, I want to be able to talk to people, learn about new projects. And this is a great way to do it because people will be like, yeah, I'll come talk to you and just talk about their projects, right? Corian just gave a great piece of advice. If you are leverage trading, stop. If you are leverage trading, stop.
We already said what leverage trading is for.
Yes.
It's not for making you rich.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I don't know, Pillikers, $5,000 to some people is something you don't even bend down to pick up if you drop it. To other people, it's every penny they have in the world. Okay, $5,000 to me is still a lot of money, even though I do all right for myself. Right? I bring that up because I think Carlos just got dropped because we hit the max time on the deal. So I'll add him back in here in a moment. If $5,000 is a lot of money to you, and it should be, because I don't know who it wouldn't be a lot of money for. You need to make sure you're not revenge trading. Revenge trading is a real thing. And revenge trading, you're going, all right, I tell you what. I just talked to Jared. I just talked to all these guys, and I feel like I have a good plan. But before I institute those things, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get it all back first, okay? And people do that shit all the time. They double down. They go, oh, I feel really good about this. Jared said this, or Kaz said this, or Cred said that, or whatever it may be. And you double down, and you try to get back, and you get waxed again, okay? So, don't do that shit, first off. Stop leverage trading. The whole reason I started my fund was to show the crazy-ass returns that you can make without ever touching leverage. And again, it's public knowledge. I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm not going to give the link to it here. But if you want to come into Stacked Labs or Nerd Quarter or something else, people will show you the link. The point is, I wanted to do that to flex not my skill, because what I'm doing isn't hard. The point is, you don't need to use leverage to make incredible returns. And that was the whole point. So Carlos got kicked off. He's back now. Welcome back.
Yeah.
By the way, you know why that happens? Because Google Meet went all corporate on us. If you have a meeting open for 2 hours, they close it.
Damn.
You have to pay them if you want it to go longer than that. So it just automatically ends the meeting. So
they need to get some post-scarcity going.
I know, right? Why they got to be so selfish all the time? So yeah, no leverage. Now, do I use leverage? Yeah, I do. And I use leverage not in the way we talked about earlier to cover shorts. But I never go above 2, 3x. You know, if I feel amazing, if I have like a high time frame 5-hour trade that I absolutely love, which, you know, this was one of them here. And I just absolutely love it. And a lot of things line up. We had a pivot flip. We had this little thing developing. There was reversal signals. And I feel like I know for sure a number going to go up. I'll use 3x leverage. Okay. And that's being pretty reckless for me. Usually I'm 1.5. If things get crazy, maybe 2. Right? Akorian just made a great point. I want every single one of you to take a look at this shit, because I don't know Akorian well, other than he's been hanging out with us for a while. But I get the feeling you've been in this game for a while, Akorian. And what he just said was he would have a lot more money. Not a lot more, but he would have a couple million if all he did was hold a spot from when he started. 3 years full time. Perfect. Okay? He would have a lot more if all he did was hold a spot. And that's not untrue for a lot of people. Like, that's pretty common. So you have to know when to trade. The whole ETH BTC strategy I've been talking about is about only using spot. Is about only acquiring more tokens, because my macro thesis, until proven otherwise, is that the number is going to go up. So I will gain more tokens while I'm doing it, which is crazy. But when we have the next phase of the run up, it's going to pay itself off 10 fucking 1,000 times over. So you just have to readjust your goals here a little bit. Catfish, that's the way it goes. If I held my ETH, I'd be buying a house right now. Now I'm trying to rent. Yo, first off, you could always give cats flying lessons, make some money that way. I'm just throwing that out there. It's a possibility, you know, just give them some lessons.
Lots of stuff to do in the nerd chat.
Yeah. But in leverage, you can go short, right? No, bro, fuck. I mean, you have to. You can't short without leverage, because you're essentially borrowing that shit out.
Right.
But you're lending it out and trying to buy back lower. However.
Also, let me say something about that.
Yeah. Well, hold on. However, leveraging short near all-time highs is the dumbest shit you can do. Okay? I just want to make that point abundantly clear because there's a lot of people watching right now. And if you think that this was it and we're going down and you want to put mega leverage onto a short position right now, good luck. I'll see you in the liquidation line. It's a shitty time to do it. You leverage a lower high on a broken trend, and that's about it. And Carlos, hand to God, I'm coming back to you. But like, we have this trend right here. We have this UTL. We have a series going back to July 22nd where we created higher highs and higher lows. Until you see a major level fail and an attempt to recover that level made and failed, you do not short. Now, will I? Not until that point comes. Are there people that will and make money doing it? Yeah. But you know what? They're a lot better than us. Okay? So right here, breakdown, we lose 3 levels here. We lose this SR flip. We come down. An attempt is made to try to regain that level and it rejects. This is where you short. You never short here. And this is only on a trigger, okay? But you know what somebody's sitting at home thinking right now? Well, no, Jared, because if I short now, that's a higher number. That's a better number. I could get a way better return if I were to short from 62.8 than I could from 58.8.
Yeah, and people don't think about like probabilities because it's all a probability game, right? All
Yes.
you're trying to do is maximize the probability of your short going.
Yes.
Well.
That's correct. That's correct. And by the way, what Carlos just said is you're trying to turn the balance probability in your favor, which is true. It's my fucking Twitter handle, okay? Right here. That fuck right there.
Yeah, you've made me think a lot in terms of plus expected value in the things that I do now.
Absolutely.
Just what can I gain from this? And the question is, would I be better off not doing anything? And like most of the time, the answer is yeah. You should just not do anything. You've got Bitcoin. Just sit down.
But it's maximizing your expected value on your positions. It's maximizing your expected value on your life. It's maximizing your expected value on your projects. Okay, and the point is the whole idea. Sorry, yeah, I can. Can I turn him up? I think I can. I'm trying to turn him up a little bit more. But the idea of expected value is to put yourself in a position where whatever outcome you're essentially seeing and trying to play in the market has a greater than 50% chance to happen. So that's where starting from high time frame happens. That's where looking for triggers happens. That's where these sorts of things happen. Okay. So if I see an SR flip, a UTL, upward trend line, a TRL, whatever it is, and I see a nice rinse out of leverage longs and funding resets, and then I see a nice reversal trigger, I have a plus expected value that the number is going to go up if I take a long there. Might I lose and get stopped out? Yes. But on balance of probability, it's more likely going to go up than down. And that's why you take the trade. It's a whole different way of thinking. Plus expected value. It's actually a poker term, guys. If you ever play poker and you're like, all right, I'm drawing dead here, but there's one card in the deck that I can win against what I know that dude probably is holding rockets. It looks like he probably hit a full house on the board. I'm going to need this card to win. Your balance of probability to call whatever bet's been pushed on you is very, very low. So you don't do it. You have to do math in your head and think about whether or not whatever you think the person has with the cards on the board has a better percentage of playing out than one you currently have, and you take the bets that are plus expected value. If you've ever wondered why you get into poker games and get your ass kicked, it's because you have not internalized that concept yet.
Yeah. And also, here's the other thing. Like, when thinking about expected value, you also have to think of all the bets that you don't take, right?
That's
So
right.
by taking a leverage bet, like our friend Pilicaris instead he could have bought a Doodle NFT, right?
Yeah.
That's
It's a good point.
What you did is that you said that you expected to earn more by trading leverage than buying a JPEG, and you're probably wrong. I mean, you're certainly wrong because you lost your money, but like
Yeah.
for most people, the plus expected value play is to buy an asset that you won't get liquidated on, because leverage trading with profits is for like the top 1% of traders.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, minus expected value play of me, you can go back and find it. I need to find it so I can just have a clip to be like, this is when Carlos was telling me to buy at a Bored Ape Yacht Club when they were 18 grand. And I was like, nah, that's fucking dumb. There's a stream of us talking about it. He walked me through the entire ecosystem, what was going to happen, how it was going to work, how I was going to be building a community. And I just don't understand NFTs that well, guys. I just don't. But there's literally a recorded version of me being given alpha to my face and be like, nah, fuck that shit. And literally it rocketed from like, I think like the next day, right?
Yeah, probably the next day.
It was literally the next fucking day. He was like, by the way, that thing I told you to buy for 18 grand is now 28 grand. I was like, well, I'm fucking definitely not buying that now. And then it was 40, and then it was 60, and then it was 80, and then, you know, fucking, I forget who Von Miller bought one, and then it was 100, and it was like, oh my God, the one that I wanted to buy. So anyway, Plus EV comes in more than one form and fashion. I'm good at trading. This is how I do it. A lot of you want to be good at trading. A lot of you shouldn't be doing it. However, in crypto, you don't have to. You don't have to. There's some good stuff in here. By the way, Sketchy makes a point, and we were both talking, and he brought this up. I split my net worth. One half I traded spot, the other with leverage. My leverage account got liquidated within 2 months. My spot account doubled. Net even. Okay? Now, I don't know if he's still listening. I wonder if you're still leverage trading. I would guess probably not.
That's also a good example, because like if you think in plus EV terms, if he had thought on the risk of getting liquidated and did that same play with 80% of his like position in spot and 20% on leverage, he would have so much more money now.
That's
just by
right.
changing the percentages.
And I think XXT or Acorian or one of those guys said, you know, split off 5% of your portfolio if you want to leverage trade, because then you don't fuck yourself. But like that's a great piece of advice too. Like only take you know what you're willing to see go to zero and trade with it. Okay. Acorian just had a good drop here too. Here's a strategy I use: go to spot, make profits, use a percentage of them, and start playing on leverage with that percentage you made from holding spot. It's a great way to do it. In fact, I've never thought about that, but my God, that's really what people should do. Okay, I bought 10, it went up 20%. I'll sell, 20% of my spot, so 2. I'm still net even, and I can use that leverage trade if I really want to play that down. Really, really good advice. I like that a lot. And by the way, just really quickly, because it's not, I'm scrolling back because there's something else that was said that I want to bring to you, but you have no idea the psychology of trading with what you perceive to be house money. It's not house money. You earn that money by holding spot and selling it. But in your brain, you can Jedi mind track yourself into being like, my USD value that I put in is still here. Okay? But the other part, if it leaves, whatever, okay? And you'll trade differently because of that, because you're not worried about losing your USD value. It's a shortcut to becoming an emotionless trader, 100%. Shady Capital says that I capped myself at 1% of total port, and I've really only ever lost money doing it. Over time, I stopped naturally because I was making more in spot. Dude, one day I will tell my story more in depth about spot trading and about DeFi Summer and all of that. You guys know by now, I was hacked at the start of this year and lost everything that I had built in crypto. Everything, pretty much.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, I mean, I messaged you first. Well, you and a couple other guys where I was like, yo, what do I do? And I'll get into the details on it. But I literally got hacked for everything that I had built over a year on chain. Okay, a year on chain. Now, it was not all my money. Okay, I had more. I had taken some out.
Hadn't you just quit too?
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a lot going on. Including a loss of income because I had made it, so to speak. And it took me 5 months to make back what I lost. And then more. Okay. 5 months. And some of it was leverage trading, but most of it wasn't. And the point was not that I made it back. That's not the point of my story. And I'm just saying that's people are like, oh shit, look at this guy. No, I made it back. But it was people like Carlos helping me out. It was the community that I've built in with not Nerd, or it's not with Nerd, not even with Stacked Labs. It's other people that helped me through that time. And like, hey man, I saw this as a great opportunity. You should take a look at it. Maybe take a little bit of what you got. There were some other people that came out of pocket for me as well to help me get back on my feet, which was amazing, which I thought were loans. They ended up being gifts, okay? People that I've never met before, which is unbelievable to help me get back on my feet. And that was through participating in the community and being what I think is a generally good person. And yeah, Pillikers asked, how do you get your money back? Was it on exchange? It was not. It was on chain, okay? So that's what I mean. I have separate accounts. Some like my wallet, and then things like Bybit or whatever it might be, FTX. And yeah, the story is as scary as you can imagine. As scary as you can imagine being hacked, and how it would happen is exactly how this happened. Right down to the cherry on top of this dude hacking me, which was this camera that you're looking through at me right now. As I came in to stop him, because I caught him in the act, he flipped on my camera to look at me. So it's one thing to be hacked. It's quite another to have the person look you in the face while they're doing it. Which is pretty wild. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was at 5 a.m. And by the way, did I ever tell you what triggered me to know that it was happening?
No, what?
So I have Ether Drops. What the hell's the bot called? Yeah, Ether Drops tracking bot. And I have a channel for myself. You guys should get this if you trade on chain. Ether Drops _bot. I'll put it in the chat here. Okay. That's the bot. I have a channel that has my wallet in there. And I have alerts on. And so I woke up and looked at my phone to a scrolling list of transactions that have been happening for 2 hours. As this guy was liquidating all of my money. Okay. And it took me a second to realize what was happening. And then I sprinted in here and I tried to shut it down. And while that was happening, I'm freaking out. My wife wakes up. She's hyperventilating. I'm fucking absolutely losing my mind. I shut everything down, and I'm trying to. And dude flips on the camera and looks at me, which was literally just like the whoo bitch moment for me. And the last thing, yeah, a little bit of PTSD for me. Before I shut my computer down, because essentially he got access to my computer. That's how I was hacked. And I left my hot wallet logged in. The last thing I did, and this is no cap, looked straight into the camera and said, "I'm coming for you, motherfucker. I will never stop looking." And I shut off my computer.
That's pretty badass, though. That's pretty base.
And hand to God, I will never stop looking for this fucking guy. I hired a firm. I paid them $5,000 to look into it. I have an idea about where they live. I have an idea about where the money went. And that dude better hope I never get to 9-figure rich, because I will find his ass.
You know what? There's a guy on YouTube that's really good at this shit.
At finding people?
Yeah, he does that for like Indian. Are these guys Indian?
Yes.
They're Indian? Oh fuck. Yeah, so this guy makes like his YouTube channel around getting like into these Indian scam operations.
Yeah, so there's like a long list of it. You know, the good news is it'll be a tax write-off, so you know, I guess I got that going for me. But yeah, it was pretty damn scary. So anyway, I almost walked away in that moment. I didn't stream for like 6 weeks after it happened, or maybe a month, or whatever it is. So there was quite there's quite a lot that happened in that period, and it was the community that picked me up. It's the community that kept me in the game. I always believed in it from a macro perspective, but it didn't take me that long. So have I ever been liquidated like what you guys are talking about? No. Have I been liquidated in a much worse fashion? Yeah. Okay. So it took me a while. Yes, a hardware wallet would have avoided this. I don't want to talk about it. It was stupid. I was naive. And my OPSEC is on point now, and I'm not going to go into the level of which it is, but I feel very confident that I remedied that issue. Okay. And it won't happen again. But I was smart enough to pull some money out where I wasn't going to go essentially, you know, fuck my family over. Had enough left over and had great friends that were around to help me get on my feet again. And that's what you get in crypto. And all these people that helped me, not a single one of them had I ever met physically in my life, except for Joel. Okay. So think about that. I didn't mean to move that way, but the point is 5-6 months to make that back. Some good decision making, some leverage, mostly spot. Okay? Be smart. Stay in the game. Yeah, it's a story, dude.
Best advice.
Yeah.
People who make it are the ones who stay in the game and avoid things that will get you out of the game. Like there's loops, like betting, like liquidate, like leverage trading is betting, right?
Yes.
It's super betting.
It essentially is. You're right.
But like bet on things that make you excited. Like there's a lot of things that you could put you could be putting your money, and that's the other thing. Your time is super precious, and like what leverage does, and having a liquidation, is like basically you look at it all day and do nothing else.
That's right.
So you could be productive, like just hanging around in a DAO chat until you get like a paid position. People are going to give you money to participate because that's like the most scarce thing right now.
Yeah.
So like just think about what you're doing with your time, not only your capital.
Yeah, people, brain power, whatever it is. So Pilliker said, so Spot lives in how to make advances from Spot and stay in the game. So like that's kind of like this conversation we're having with Ataxia here. And if you come into Stack Labs or if you come into the Nerd Quarter, you can learn about the fundamental analysis, the FA as they call it, on why things are going to move forward. Algo Dude just gave a great advice. Top 10 market cap coins, pretty hard to go wrong. Solana, I think, is going to be
Hex is there, and
yeah. Well, true enough.
ADA is there.
Yeah, ADA, Hex, whatever.
There's a lot of danger in the top 10. I would actually look in the top 40.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Top 40. And the thing is, like, here's what I would do. This is my honest to God advice. And it's not easy. And here's the thing. I'm going to give you advice. And a lot of people have heard my story today, and you're still going to use hot wallets, and you might get hacked. And I might tell you about risk management. And you might not use it, and you might get blown out. But I'm going to give you a piece of advice on if you want to stay in this game, what to do. And it's just a good start. I would look at the top 100 market cap coins, and I would look at the top DeFi. Fuck me. Right as I was getting into it, dude. Jesus Christ. You get a fucking ad. Thank you for telling me, because I was about to drop some advice. Tell me when you're back, please, and then we'll wrap up.
This has been a long one.
It has been, dude. You don't have to stay on if you don't want to.
No, that's fun.
Fucking commercials. I don't know how I stopped this shit, dude. I don't know how it started. Okay, we're back. Good shit. Okay, let me pull it up. I'm just going to show you what to do. You got to do the work, but I'm going to show you what to do. Careless. Okay. Here's your top 100 DeFi coins by market cap. DeFi coins by market cap, not overall. DeFi. I would take the top 25 in here, maybe the ones that aren't like dollar, like CUSDC, CDAI, whatever. Like, don't do those. But real projects. And what you do is you go and you click on them. Let's go to Uniswap. Sweet. Here's uniswap.org. Sick. Go in there and read about it. They have their Twitter account. Go follow them. A lot of them have Telegram channels. Go read about it. Okay? Take all the top 25 in DeFi and do that. And then come back and just go to the top 40 overall, because not everything's technically DeFi in the way that this thing is calculated, and do the exact same thing. Again, stablecoins don't do it. Get an idea about what these things do. What is Chainlink? Well, let's go to blog.chain.link or whatever it is, and get yourself a base layer of knowledge if you really want to learn about this system and what happens and how they interact. Now, Carlos and I are probably going to be working on a project here in the near future to help explain this shit in crypto DeFi stack for dummies, but that's some time away, okay?
And once that happens, the money-making opportunity is mostly going to be gone.
True enough. So spend some time learning about these things and how they fit together. Read Medium articles, join Telegrams, ask people that you trust, find places that you do, okay? So somebody said, can you ever get hacked at all by using a hardware wallet barn that never get hands on your seed phrase? It is possible, I'm told. How is that possible, Carlos?
I mean, the way you got hacked,
No, on hardware. Like, let's say my thing being different, but like somebody compromising a hardware wallet. Is that possible? Just like that question alone.
No, they can't compromise it directly. But the problem with the hardware wallet is that you now have this thing that you have to protect. So if like the police gets you, it's going to be hard to keep the hardware wallet from you.
That's true.
Actually, what I do recommend is social wallets, which, for example, I use Argent, right? So if anyone hacked my Argent or my phone or whatever, and I tried to do a transaction I haven't approved, it actually takes approval from other people I trust and 36 hours before it happens.
Interesting.
If it's not like an approved contract.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
So there's a lot of ways that you can protect yourself. Like hardware wallets are like the most common ones, but there's a lot of very good, like mostly social wallets where you can use people you trust to cover you.
It's essentially a multi-sig. It's a multi-sig.
It's essentially a multi-sig.
Yeah, it's a your network multi-sig. If you get to the point where you're just stacking tokens and you're not actively trading them, and then do that. So let's say you make the decision where a hardware wallet's good and your seed phrase is fine, hasn't been compromised. What Intromoto just said, his first comment, which is a great first comment: safe deposit box, the seed phrase, or fireproof material. Believe it or not, I do not have my seed phrases in my house, which is maybe smart, maybe it's not smart. But what I've thought about is I'm like, I really should split these up. Like, I'm going to put half in one safety deposit box, half in another. That way, you'd have to get to both to really take them down. So like, there's a couple ways to think about this shit where you couldn't get cracked by one event. But yeah, putting your seed phrases somewhere else is a really, really good idea. One of the ways that I protect myself is with guns in my house because I live in America. So come get me, bitches.
There's a machine gun under his desk pointing at the camera right now.
Yeah, brother has a copy of your keys. That's a good way too. Just like people you trust, right? Like it's
just don't piss off your brother now.
Yeah, don't piss off your brother. Commercials again. Yeah. Anyway. We will see. All right, this is good stuff. This is a long stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got real deep there at the end. So, you know. Yeah, not using your hardware wallet on protocols is a good idea. I would generally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can get approval hacks are pretty limited in their scope.
For now.
I mean, it's just the way how the thing like that works. Unless it's like a proxy approval or some weird shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the cool thing about blockchain is that anyone can guarantee they have pretty good OPSEC by just following like simple rules.
Yeah, basic
right?
rules.
It's,
Yeah.
Like most people, like the vast majority of people who get hacked by either giving away their keys or putting them in their email or some stupid shit like that. And like there's bots looking through that stuff all the time. So
Yeah.
like that's the first thing people look for. So just stay offline with your keys, and you're generally gonna make it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. You know, update your firmware. You know, they're fixing things on your hardware. Like, by the way, I have 7 wallets now. I have 7 hardware wallets, and I keep nothing on hot wallets. The reason why I did not trade on Atom earlier is because I didn't know that you could use a ledger, and I was like, I'm not going to trade. If there's no hardware wallet, I'm not trading, and that is how I feel right now. I will not trade on something if there is no hardware wallet. And that's probably something I'll never stop. By the way, JV7XPT, I didn't mean to ignore your message, dude. I just saw him reply to it. He just said he lost 40% of his wallet trying to revenge trade. I would have pointed that out had I seen it when we were having that conversation. It's a great example, man. Try to revenge trade. I'm going to get it all back. It happens to everybody. Okay? So yeah. Really, really, really good stuff there. All right, kids, I got to hop off here. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to pause this music on the way out and hit our outro. We got 1 minute and then we're going to be done. So if you got any last minute questions, I know we didn't get to chart requests and all that, but I feel like this one was worth it.
5 to the 4 to the 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the new people. It's very nice having you in for the first time. Come check out Stacked Labs. Come check out the Nerd Quarter. Really, really good places, okay? Really good places. Thanks, guys.
If you have your projects, if you have your stuff you want to do, ideas, that's the best place.
100%.
Yeah. Don't leverage.
Don't use leverage, dude.
Let's start a campaign against leverage, like t-shirts and shit.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Thanks, everybody.
All right, I'm gonna sign off.
All right, man. See you later.
See ya.
No questions. All right. See you guys.